I don't know.
Allah ate it. Allah ate it.
Because he was too stupid.
Excuses.
Thousands. Who ate the apple? What happened?
I don't know.
Who ate the whole apple? What happened?
I don't know.
Allah ate it. Allah ate it.
Because he was too stupid.
Excuses.
Thousands. Who ate the apple? What happened?
I don't know.
Who ate the whole apple? What happened?
I don't know.
Allah ate it. Allah ate it.
Because he was too stupid.
Excuses.
Thousands. Who ate the apple? What happened?
I don't know.
Who ate the whole apple? What happened?
I don't know.
Allah ate it. Allah ate it.
Because he was too stupid.
Excuses.
Thousands. Who ate the apple? What happened?
All right. We are live. Welcome back to Reasoned Answers, everyone. Your home for the
crackhead clown individuals.
Got a special show for you today.
You're gonna get fired for that one.
Yeah, I did get fired for that one. You may think that Christopher Columbus discovered the Americas, or maybe you have a little bit more knowledge and you say, well, the Vikings were technically here first, but Christopher Columbus is the one that actually matters because it's the one that changed history. But you would be wrong, because apparently the Muslims were the first people to cross the Atlantic Ocean and discover the Americas, or at least that's the claim made in a Muslim Cowboy video that we're going to be reviewing today.
Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's funny. Okay, let me send out this link. I'll tell people what we're talking about.
You didn't remember what we were talking about? You just remember?
I don't remember what I had for breakfast.
No worries. Got a couple messages from Real Descubra. The wood better not be late or I'm leaving the cult. Well, we were slightly late, only a couple minutes, less than 5 minutes, I think, but we were a couple minutes late, so I guess you'll have to leave the cult.
Yeah, that wasn't on.
He also said Muslims invented historical fiction, you see? Yes, indeed, that is the case. Of course, there was historical fiction before, but we'll get into the details. We'll get into the details in a little bit. Obviously, joined here today by David. He doesn't need any introduction, but he'll get one anyway.
I have rarely come across somebody who is more vulgar, vile, foul-mouthed, noxious, repugnant, depraved excuse of a preacher. Whatever he is, David Wood, it is obvious to any person of faith, is not a man of God.
Mm-hmm.
Classic.
What is your response?
Classic. Ha! He didn't know the half of it.
Indeed. He didn't know barely anything in comparison. Like he like barely even knew who you were. He's like, I looked him up and I was very disgusted. Yasser Qadi, definitely very in tune with social media.
Oh, he
also,
he can pretend he hasn't known me for years. He's been running his mouth about me for years, and then he won't even say my name anymore. But yeah, then he tried to file a stupid fake copyright strike, and that didn't work. He got crushed. And so anyway, everyone, for people like Yasser Qadi, you gotta try and empathize or sympathize or whatever you guys do. Dawa's crumbling all around them. Things are not going well, and they're trying to retreat to their own little bubble city where no one will ever hear any of the stuff we're sharing. And even that's not going well for them. So it's just like they're getting backed into a corner and they don't know what to do. So it's really sad.
Yeah, I mean, they tried to take to TikTok where they didn't think Christians were and do the same arguments that were long refuted. Pretty soon, I think they're going to be like going into kids' games like Roblox and trying to convert people there, because the way Dawa works, you can't have open debate, right? You can't have dialogue because they get humiliated so quickly and then they just run to the next place where they hopefully can find someone ignorant. Why did Yasser Qadi speak like that? Obviously, because it is true. Welcome to the chat, Eric from Your Brother in Christ. Do you want to introduce yourself? I don't have a clip for you. Sorry.
Sure. So, like I said, I'm Eric. I run the Christian YouTube channel, Your Brother in Christ, where we do open call-ins. We do a lot of talks with Muslims. It's primarily focused on polemics evangelism to Muslims. So that would be who I am.
And we're also joined by Elle Iso Elohim. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Anything you want to say as introduction?
I'm Elle. I run Elle So Elohim here on YouTube. I do apologetics arts and try to go through the source texts for Christianity, Islam, and more to decipher what aligns with reality and what doesn't. My catchphrase is, let's seek and share truth together better than ever before, because in this world of chaos, we need to know what aligns with reality and Christ. Oh no, Christ is what aligns with reality.
You added that one, huh?
So that's our new animation. I added it for the last live stream. That's audience triggered. So it could come up at any time. Just saying. And before we start, Nordine asked me to ask you, David. He has a little theory here. He says, based on David Hume said that beauty is just an emotion in the mind that's not intrinsic feature of objects themselves. This emotion can be projected onto anything and it will feel beautiful. And then he says that this seems to apply to Islam and that Muslims are being controlled by demons. What are your thoughts on this as the resident philosopher here?
I don't know, because I believe that demonic influence and mental health problems and 40 generations of first cousin marriage and just being massively conditioned and manipulated your entire life until you're just wired to think in certain ways can all produce similar results. And so you kind of don't know. You kind of don't know sometimes.
All right. So today we're going to be talking about who discovered the Americas. We're going to look at a video by Muslim Cowboy here in a second, but I wanted to start just briefly here with this Wikipedia article on pre-Columbian contact with the Americas.
My people made it. My people made it.
Because there are tons and tons of ideas about pre-Columbian transoceanic contact theories. Because, of course, ultimately, people did come to Americas across the Bering Strait and whatnot. So obviously those were the first people. But after that, people coming in, becoming the native peoples of Americas in ancient times, modern times, there's a bunch of theories. There's a whole bunch. And article goes through all this. Obviously, I'm not going to read it, but I just wanted to point out. So the Viking contact is well accepted. And then somewhat well accepted is the idea that Polynesian people had some contact with the Americas. They didn't have any settlements, but they probably had some contact. After all, they did make it to Easter Island, which is just off the coast of South America for sure. So getting to South America, not all that improbable. we might get a few halal hogs today.
I find this incredibly insensitive.
I know, it's
I
terrible.
could not resist.
Yeah, so my people, the Vikings made it.
That's true.
Although I'm only one quarter, so.
And then you got all these claims from, historical writings, or what we might call historical fiction, but they're claims found in historical writings and whatnot. So claims of contact with Ecuador. This one's based on a genetic study, but lots of stories about Chinese contact with the New World, claims about Japanese contact from the Indian subcontinent, Africa, lots of claims of contact from Africa, and claims of Arab contact, which is probably what we're going to be discussing in a minute. Claims of ancient Phoenician contact, so long before the time of the Muslims even existed. Supposedly the Phoenicians came here, Judaic contact. So there's claims about Jews coming here, claims of European contact of various time groups, including the Romans, and then claims from shortly before the time of Columbus as well, including Irish and Welsh legends. And then also claims going the other way, that people in the Americas traveled to see to the other continents. This one of Egyptians having knowledge of chocolate and tobacco, I actually heard in school. Like my school teacher bought into this and said that. That's how prevalent it is. Claims of travel during the times of Romans, so people coming over and making contact with the Romans, making contact with the Norse people, so the other direction, right? Not the Vikings going to the New World, but the people in the New World coming to meet the Vikings. Claims of Inca travel into Oceania, and so on and so forth. And then there's all the various groups, and then it goes into the pseudo evidence thereof. So I just wanted to say that this claim is not unique. It is not something that only Muslims have tried. All kinds of groups have tried this. So now we'll dive into the video at hand, which there it is.
But just to be clear, there is a difference between someone claiming that my group did it and someone claiming that this is the reason why we know Islam is true, because my group did it first. That's a bit of a difference. Just a little bit.
And so Muslim Cowboy put this video out. Muslims who reached America before Columbus, episode 3 of the Untold Muslim History. So not only does he claim it, he claims that there's like a conspiracy to cover this up. And great stuff.
Yo, Thaddeus, if you're not already planning it, you might want to give a just because it ties in a lot. But for anyone who didn't catch it, might want to just give them a quick reminder of what we've seen coming up, where that Viking historian guy says he was offered piles of money to say that Muslims were up there first and so on. So anyway, the point is there's this real push behind the scenes, a well-funded push to get people to say, oh, Muslims were first, and this somehow justifies things in their minds that so it's kind of still ours, and so don't complain when we take over, because it was ours first. And the guy's like, I don't care how much money you give me, I'm not gonna make up a bunch of nonsense for your religion.
Yeah, that's a very good point. The four of us reviewed that video maybe a month or two ago. I'll add a link to that. Definitely check that out. So not only are Muslims like claiming that some of the Vikings were Muslims, they're offering substantial amounts of money to people who are influential in the Viking research and whatnot to claim that, right? To claim that. And in this case, they're actually offering it to a fiction writer who's written a number of novels about the Vikings, and they're like, just make one of your characters a Muslim, please. We'll pay you tons of money. And he's like, no, I'm not destroying the cultural heritage that my novels are all about just for a pile of money. So good on him. But other people might do it even for free, just for the fame of being the person who made this claim, and because it will definitely be picked up by the media and whatnot. So definitely something to be aware of. Muslims share it. Yep, Muslims want this to happen, right? I mean, they made the guy who wrote the 100 most influential people and put Muhammad number 1. They built statues of him in Islamic countries, and he didn't even convert to Islam or anything. And the reason he said Muhammad was number 1 is because he was a warlord and author of the Quran, which is like, Jesus wasn't a political leader. He was only a religious leader. And he didn't write the Gospels. So
it's actually seriously crazy. That Michael Hart, so that guy is a white nationalist who believes that white people are superior, and he, in his book, he says that Arabs need to be kept separate from white people to avoid polluting the white bloodline with their inferior intellects and so on. But yeah, he wasn't saying, hey, here's the here's the best person of all time. He's talking about massive influence, and he believes that Muhammad had a huge impact on a bunch of really like genetically stupid people, and that this has had a big impact on the world. And Muslims are looking at that going, hey, a white nationalist who wasn't a historian, he was a scientist, and who only got his book published because his dad literally owned a publishing company. That's how he got it. That's how he got this published. And who believes that Muhammad had this huge impact because there are massive numbers of genetically inferior people who are stupid and believe anything. And Muhammad, by appealing to these really dumb groups of people, guys, if you're, this is not me saying this, this is the guy that you are pointing to as the evidence for Islam. He believes that Muhammad had such a big impact on inferior races that it made him the most influential person in the world, because there are tons and tons and tons of these people spreading all over the world. That's what he means by this. And Muslims, you see, this is the proof that Islam is true. Muhammad had a big influence on stupid people in this. What's amazing is if you look at it, they'll quote him like he's the greatest historian in the world and the famous historian. And no, he wasn't a historian at all. Anyway, this is just wild stuff. But yeah, it's that shows you there's Dawa's dumb, guys. Dawa is really, really dumb. Imagine someone says that you're completely inferior, and some guy was so effective at duping really stupid people that you all follow him now, and it's had this really, really big impact on the world with your stupidity. And you say, see, this is our case for Islam. Let's all run with this. It's like you're kind of making a point about being stupid.
Indeed, indeed. And of course, we know that Daniel is telling us all about how great it is that Muslims practice cousin marriage, because it dumbs down the population. And if you're too smart, you leave Islam. And he's just openly saying that's why cousin marriage is so good. I mean, you can't make this stuff up, right? I mean, the Dawa guys, they seem to do more damage to Islam than we ever could. Let's put it that way. All right. So let me take a couple super chats and then we'll dive into the video from Potato Sandwich.
Sir, how can we contribute financially for your organization? They get in touch with me. And very easy, people know where I am. And once they get in touch with me to contribute without causing problem, to contribute in big amounts. And many people call me for lunch and for dinner and for meal. And for every meal, they give big amounts, alhamdulillah. So those who really want to contribute, they come and meet me.
Potato Sandwich sending in the big amounts, big amounts. Muslims may not have discovered America centuries beforehand, but the men of Al-Zut discovered the leather straps centuries before the Hadith compilers did. I think that is true. No disputing that one. And from
if you're talking about different cultures that reached various people, you could say the Zut people of India met Muhammad where it mattered most.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they were explorers of the Arabian desert at a time where everyone else is just like, that's a barren wasteland. Why would we go there?
Oh, they were exploring.
The Al-Zut people were true explorers. Deep cave explorers. Songs of Relief with a super chat.
We're asking you to give a loan to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and believe me, that will be paid back in ways you can never imagine.
Who is it that would loan Allah a goodly loan so he may multiply it for him many times over?
Allahu Akbar. I love that verse. Every time we donate to projects, we're giving a loan to our Creator, the most generous, who will return it to us in this life.
Brothers and sisters, can you afford to miss out on this opportunity?
Not missing out on that opportunity. And Eric, the screen gets him yet again.
The scream. It's just like, I don't know. I make videos. I spend time editing and like actually make sure the sound's good. And then they pay to put that out and they have a scream randomly. And it's like, no, that's just so bad.
You see, they have a scream. No, wait. You see, they were Palestinians. So they want to say they discovered the Americas. How did they lose them? Well, you know, we'll see in a second. We'll see. They just came over and stole all the gold and then went back home. That's basically the story. And that's why they didn't care. There was no more gold. They had already stolen it all or some such nonsense. And Allah does indeed need your cash. He's very poor. It's almost like he's a 7th century Arabian desert dweller from a tiny little town that was very poor, and that's why he needs your money. It makes perfect sense. Perfect sense.
I guess he ran out of the Americans' money then, because that's where, if he stole all the gold, there you go. He must ran out, so he needs another loan.
All right, we got the Muslim Cowboy here and his untold Muslim history.
Listen to this name as if you're hearing it for the first time. Khashkhash ibn Sa'id al-Qurtubi.
Off to a great start there. He says, listen to his name like you're saying it for the first, hearing it for the first time, and you probably are, because he literally doesn't get the guy's name right. He doesn't even get the guy's name right. I searched. This is the only place on the entire internet that someone calls him al-Qurtubi. So Hush ibn Sa'id al-Qurtubi is what Muslim Cowboy says, but that is in fact not his name, as near as I can tell. And I looked in Arabic as well. It is in fact Hush. I'll take it for granted that's how it's pronounced. I have no idea. Ibn Sa'id ibn Aswad. No Qurtubi in here. I don't know where he got that from, but it's literally the only place on the internet that the guy is called by that name. I don't know. Great start, though. Great start to the video.
We're talking 9th century Cordoba in Muslim Spain. The year is 889. A Muslim navigator looks west into what medievals call the Sea of Darkness, meaning the Atlantic. He sets his sail and he just goes. And he comes back. This isn't rumor. This isn't some myth. That is the core of the record. Classic historian.
Okay, first of all, just because it's written down doesn't make it not myth. By definition, myths are written down too. But I think you've looked into this, Eric. Was that even an accurate statement of the legend?
No.
No?
It really is not.
And he says more, but that's basically
came back.
Yeah. The whole thing is like 3 lines, 2 or 3 lines, the whole thing in this historical. He says it's the core, but in fact, that's all the source says, minus the word west, which is not in the source. He added that part.
Al-Mas'udi writes that a sailor from Al-Andalus, he crossed the Atlantic and returned with spoils, a tale well known across Spain. People sometimes say that, well, he disappeared, but what disappeared is just the address of his exact landfall. But for sure, he made contact with the Americas. The sailor himself returned.
For sure. For sure.
For sure.
So one guy writes down this legend, kind of is implying it's a legend, right? So to be clear, it's written down in a pseudo historical source from like 50 years after the time this happened. And he's like basically saying there's a legend that the people of Spain tell about this guy. That's basically what he's saying. And here's the legend. He went out to sea and then eventually came back with gold. That's the extent of the legend. But
wait,
so don't worry.
The claim that is that Khashkhash ibn Sa'id ibn al-Aswad, he did that. That's him?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I'm looking this up so I can read it. But yeah, go ahead.
And since when is that like
old and new?
Oh, sorry. I was just gonna say, even if that was true that he had contact, since when is coming back with their gold like a positive thing to brag about? Like,
this is coming from this. This is coming from the same group who wanted to claim Vikings, a group of people who survived primarily on raiding other people and stealing things from other people as their primary existence, that they were part of their group, that was them. It's like, you're really not claiming the best of the people now, are you?
So Thaddeus, were you going to read what it says, or because I just looked it up?
Yeah, you can go ahead and read it for us if you like.
Okay, so Ali al-Masudi, in his historical account, The Meadows of Gold, 947. Oh, yeah, you can toss it up there, right there. Here's what you have, guys. Here's the case, as far as I can tell. It says, in the ocean of fogs, the Atlantic, there are many curiosities which we have mentioned in detail in our Akhbar az-Zaman, news of our era, on the basis of what we saw there. Adventurers who penetrated it, not in a Zut sense, on the risk of their life, like Abdullah ibn Masud crossing the Didi line, some returning safely, others perishing in the attempt. Okay, so you got that so far. It doesn't tell you anything yet. But here we have the 3 lines. Thus, a certain inhabitant of Cordoba, Kashkash by name, assembled a group of young men, his co-citizens, and went on a voyage on this ocean. After a long time, he returned with booty. Every Spaniard knows this story. So there you have it.
Uh-oh, indeed.
Read that one more time, everyone. Thus a certain, because this is the evidence. Thus a certain inhabitant of Cordoba, Kashkash by name, assembled a group of young men, his co-citizens, and went on a voyage on this ocean. So he went on a voyage on the ocean. Where did he make it to? Doesn't say, but after a long time, he returned with booty. Again, not in the Zut sense. Every Spaniard knows this story. So that's the claim, that he didn't make it to some island or something like that. He made it across the entire Atlantic and made it there, and then made it to the Americas, and then made his way back.
Mm-hmm. That's a claim. Now this, we'll get back to this in a minute here, but this is the atlas of the world found in al-Masudi's, which is the source of this account. So his historical account, this is what he thinks the world looks like. It's kind of distorted, but you know, you got Europe-ish up here,
spot on,
Asia over here, and then you got this blob down here. Now what you don't see is any indication that there is anything to the west, right? This is just as far as it goes. Also doesn't know about Australia, which is kind of interesting because other contemporary sources do know about Australia, but
and because Muslims discovered that too.
Anyway, we'll come back to it in a second here. This needs edited here. I think this is definitely not very accurate. Also includes a continent west of the old world. Where's this continent west of the old world? I don't see any continent west of the old world, but I'll get back to why they claim that in a little bit.
So real quick here, guys, I just want to highlight that this whole argument on Muslims being here first is on some old story of a guy grabbing a bunch of people together and going sailing, grabbing some gold and coming back. That's it. Mm-hmm. That was the entire thing. Not even, hey, we went west. No, we could have gone south. He could have gone to somewhere in Africa. He could have gone to 1,000 other places. And this is what they're building off. And according to Muslim Cowboy, this is, absolute proof.
He called it the core of the historical account, but in fact, it was the entirety of the historical account, if you want to call it that. And yeah, there's no indication where he went. It's just a vague claim that someone gathered some people and sailed somewhere and came back.
And again,
great.
This was a legend that was written down quite a ways afterwards. And it really just sounds like some old person's legend. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
That's all it sounds like.
Christian Gadfly said, I've got to make a video making fun of the chaos of Thaddeus's streams. Feel free to do that. I enjoyed your video saying that I cost you your marriage. That was a all-time classic there. That also the new video that Christian Gadfly put out, I think yesterday, might have been the day before, on the Islamic dilemma, A+ stuff there, like 45, 50 minutes, something like that, long and quite humorous, quite a lot of editing in it. I asked him how long it took, and he said months. It took him months to put that together. So I encourage you to check that out if you haven't seen it already. All right, let's get back to the Muslim cowboy here.
Hey,
from his mouth. So
this is a guy that thinks prepubescent Aisha was a full-grown woman, right?
Yeah.
This is the guy who said he would do anything Muhammad would do.
Yep.
Yep.
And then he blocked the next Zuckernick for saying, so you'd let someone cover you in semen, something like that. Anyway, I don't know.
Yep.
All right, just wanted to verify who we're talking about. All right.
That's exactly him.
The question is not, did he survive? He did. The question is, where exactly did he go? I want to begin with the
That's a good
water.
question.
From Cadiz down past the Canary Islands, the Canary Current runs like a river laid on the sea. It does one thing very well. It carries a capable hull west-southwest towards the Lesser Antilles and the shoulder of South America. 6 centuries later, Columbus rides that same conveyor belt. Any working Andalusian crew in the 800s knew that flow, the same way a rancher would know the wind and would know his cattle. But I want to talk about the skill now.
There has like every sentence is a zut joke. Every sentence he utters is a zut joke waiting to happen, and he doesn't understand it. I'm like, well, I don't want to interrupt him every sentence just to make the zut joke, but I don't know how long I can
how long you can hold out.
Yeah.
Wait, did he just say that every Muslim every Spaniard knew about this passage to the New World?
Apparently.
Every single one of them. Because that was in that passage we read. Says every Spaniard knows this story. Knows the story, but he's specifically talking about this current that's supposed to take you straight to, the Americas, and it's like that was not like common knowledge.
Well, the current itself was probably common knowledge, but they didn't go past the Azores, right? Because they're like, we have no idea what's out there. It's too dangerous to go any further than the Azores. So probably most sailors of Spain would have known about the current, but the idea that it takes them to the Americas, that is total nonsense. Obviously, no one knew that.
That's what I'm referring to.
But I mean, think about the sort of glaring silliness of this, right? So you're telling me, guy takes off, he goes that way, sails on this current, comes back with a great big pile of gold. Doesn't cross anyone's mind to say, oh, let's go do the same thing over and over and over again and just come back with tons and tons of gold. They're not like, oh, this guy went that way on this current and just came back with tons of gold. Really? They didn't like, oh, let's go do that too? And they had to wait 6 centuries for someone else? That's kind of stupid, right?
David, it's obvious that would never have happened. I mean, definitely one person going to the Americas, finding some gold and bringing it back would not inspire an entire group of people and multiple nations to start sending people over there, right? That's definitely not something that would happen.
Yeah, it's just really, as a general rule, if you tell human beings anywhere, hey, I went over there and I came back with a big old pile of gold, and hey, it's really, you just jump over there and then there's a big old pile of gold waiting on you. You come back with a big old pile of gold.
And
then everyone's like, nah, who needs a big old pile of gold?
Yeah, definitely not something any Muslim explorers or conquerors are interested in, is collecting a big pile of gold. Definitely not something that the Muslims in 10th century Spain would have been interested in. So I can see why no one else attempted
needs gold. We don't care about that stupid rock. We only care about one rock.
Now, just as a real quick point of reference in this history, we're talking about Muslim Spain. This is before the Battle of Las Navas de Tolosa. This is before the big push down south. But they were constantly at war.
Push down south? Seriously?
Yes, exactly. Hey, he's got all the innuendos. I gotta get my foot in somewhere. Okay, so
is that what the LZ said?
So that was the history around this. Is what's going on. So yes, they would have loved to have had another area they could have expanded in that wouldn't have constantly been fighting them. So they would have taken that opportunity to, yes, go down south, hit the current, and go over.
Definitely would have sailed with a ship of 30 mighty men. Zoot ship.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't think he probably had 30 men on the ship, but maybe that's why he didn't make it all the way to the Americas. If he had had 30 men, then he would have had the strength of 30 men, obviously. So there is that. We got the smiling face of the Muslim cowboy after he showed off his cattle, right? He said, any rancher would know about this. And then like has a 2-second stock footage of him, or B-roll, not stock footage technically, B-roll of him feeding his animals.
Guessing. They sailed by the sun and the stars, by shadow at noon, and latitude by prevailing trades that set with clockwork, regularity across the open Atlantic. Their boats were stout coastal craft like the Gharib. They were compact and tough. You do not need a floating palace to cross an ocean. You need a crew that reads water, trims canvas, and trusts the cycle of the winds that has not changed since Allah, God Almighty, laid the seas in their bed.
Hang on for a second. So think about how stupid this is again. He's basically saying, in case you think it'd be really hard to cross an ocean, actually turns out it's really easy. All you need is a boat and a good little crew, and right there, and everyone knows, you just jump in that little stream right there. And that takes you to a place where you can get a big old mountain of gold for nothing, and then come back and you got a big old mountain of gold. See, it was easy, guys. It was easy, but for some reason, no one decided to ever do it again for another 6 centuries.
Yeah, and you don't need a big boat. You just need a tiny little boat with a good crew. You don't need to eat or anything. I mean, you don't need fresh water or anything. You just can cross the Atlantic Ocean in 24 hours or something like that. So you don't need to bring any food or water with you. And you just magically know, or you've known since Allah set this up, right? Since Allah created it, that the current takes you to the Americas, apparently, right? You just automatically do that before anyone had ever tried it.
Now, just as a point of reference, the ocean currents do change. This is something that's happened historically. Just FYI, because this guy doesn't seem to know very much. If anything.
Yeah, I don't trust like Islamic legends about things that happened in the past, because they were always making stuff up left and right. But if this were somehow true, this guy got in a boat and went somewhere on the Atlantic and came back with a big pile of gold, I think it would be much more realistic that he went out on the Atlantic and then sailed somewhere like on the coast of Africa or something like that, and then eventually came back. That would be in the Atlantic, and it would be much more realistic than this story this guy's spinning here.
Indeed, David may be previewing what I'm going to say later.
And
he didn't actually look at any of this up,
I guess great minds think alike, Thaddeus.
Yeah, you didn't look any of this up, and yet you looked at the story and said, okay, he sailed in the Atlantic. If he went somewhere, where did he probably go? Oh, African coast. Got it. And at the time, the African coast was unexplored. So it would actually be a fantastical tale to come back from the African coast. Interesting.
Now let's talk about the route. From a port on the Andalusian Atlantic, which was identified by some readings as Delba, near today's Palos de la Frontera, a westbound crew tops off at the Canaries, waits for a steady window, and lets the current and the trades press them into blue water. The Sea of Darkness is a poet's phrase for a pilot who knows his craft. It's just a road.
No, it's called the Sea of Darkness in the literature because no one knows what's out there.
And it's not like it inspires you to want to do. I want to go to the Sea of Darkness, man. That's where I want to go.
I want to set sail upon the sea of death and doom. The sea of death, doom, and destruction. I will sail upon it because we all know, you just go there and there's a big old pile of gold waiting for you on the other side.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just a road. The roads are dark, and it's a sea that's dark, so it's a road.
I mean, if what he was saying was correct, then Christopher Columbus's crew would not have nearly mutinied on him. I mean, seriously, they would have been completely fine with it. Like, oh, you want to go? Yeah, the island over there the Muslims found. We'll go over there and pull back a pile of gold. No, they were terrified of it. This was like death incarnate. They expected to drop off the edge of the world at any given time.
No, that's a myth. But the real concern is if you go too far, then you can't make it back. And if you don't know what's ahead and don't know if you're ever going to run into anything, then you're like, well, why would we think we're going to make it back out there?
In the Alexander romance, Dul Qarnayn, or Alexander the Great, travels through a land of darkness. Yeah.
You see, and he went west. This is the proof.
And he was a Muslim.
This is the proof that he found the United States of America, and he saw the Statue of Liberty there, and then that was where the sun sets.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he traveled to the land where the sun rises, which obviously on a flat earth, that's as far east as you can go, and traveled to the land where the sun sets, which is as far west as you can go, which we now know to be the Americas. So that's clearly where Alexander went. Or I'm sorry, Dul Qarnayn, which is totally not Alexander the Great. That's where he went. That's a myth. People on the internet today are the ones who think it's flat. Yeah, so a good portion of ancient people didn't think the world was flat, but Muhammad wasn't one of those. Muhammad did think the world was flat, and for some reason, Allah agrees, and thus he writes in such a way that only makes sense if the world is flat. And early Muslims debated this. They're like, some of them were like, no, science tells us that the earth is round or, spherical. And the others were like, yeah, but Allah says otherwise, and I believe what Allah says. So, true fact about early Islam and the ancient world, because educated people in ancient times did, in fact, were able to calculate that the earth was a sphere and made reasonable estimates of its total size. Not completely accurate, but made estimates of it based on observing the sun and shadow patterns and whatnot, figuring out there was a curvature of the earth, and then guessing if that same curvature was uniform, how big the earth would be. So the idea that in Christopher Columbus's time people thought the earth was flat is certainly not true. They didn't think that he would go off the edge. They just didn't think it was a very good idea to travel an ocean of unknown size and hope you eventually run into some land.
Well, then I stand corrected.
No, just so you know, that we all heard that. We all heard that growing up, and it was actually spread. That myth was actually spread. That became standard belief, and it was that William Draper guy and that what's his Andrew Dixon White or something like that. They spread it in order to. One of them was mainly attacking Catholicism, and he was saying that Catholics made everyone think that the earth was flat, and so they're anti-science. And the other guy was just religion is anti-science in general and causes all this stuff. And they could only find two people ever who believed that. They could only find two people ever who believed that the earth was flat, and you'd eventually sail off the edge. And they cited those and said, see what this religion does to people. That's why we need to get away from that. But yeah, turned out to be a myth. But that's kind of the problem. Once people spread a myth and it just becomes standard, and it ends up. I mean, I remember that in cartoons. I remember that like Bugs Bunny type cartoons, when they say that Columbus, they were all worried to go off the edge of the earth and stuff like that. And so, still, that view is still more common than reality. In other words, more people think that, and I hear that from atheists all the time. That's why you guys believed in the flat earth and you're going to fall off the edge. No, it didn't happen. And matter of fact, I'll say this: you can find way more flat earthers now in the world than you could, 6 centuries ago.
That is definitely true. I think that what Houston says here is more or less true, that what Columbus basically did is he said the earth was much smaller. Now, whether he believed it or he was lying, I don't know. But either way, said the earth was much smaller than people perceived. Thus, he could actually get to Asia in a reasonable amount of time. And that was the lie, so to speak, of the expedition, not that the earth was flat. All right, let me take a couple super chats just so we don't have too many to do at the end, and then we'll get back to the video. Songs of Relief gifted 10 Reason Answers memberships.
And Allah will bless you in a million ways. You find the tree will grow and you will have lots and lots of wealth. This is the example that we gave to the children, and I'm letting you know that when you sow that seed by giving, you shall receive much more than you gave by the will of Allah. Give as much as you can, for indeed you will reap much more than you have sown.
Thank you very much.
When you receive the men of
From the
Al-Zut, you will be given the strength of 30 men.
Indeed. And Songs of Relief with the 10 gifted there. So he needs to up that to 30 gifted if he wants to be as good as Muhammad. But thank you nonetheless for that. And Stephen with a question for us.
Here's the sadness. We are running out of funds. All our work is going to stop unless people like you watching this video will help us. Your donations can get you a share in a reward. Reap those rewards for years to come, inshallah. This is not a donation or a charity, but an investment for your hereafter.
So he said, the question is, did Muslims really believe in occasionalism? And the answer is yes. Muhammad certainly did. Now, there is a debate in early Islam. There is a debate. Some Muslims are like, we need to just go based on the literal meaning of the Quran and the sayings of Muhammad and whatnot. And others are like, no, we need to use our brains. We need to actually think about things and determine reality. And the non-thinking branch won out and, in fact, ended up violently persecuting and killing the people who said to use philosophy. So today you find in Sharia that philosophy is akin to witchcraft. That is how bad it is. And philosophy is nothing more than thinking carefully about things. So Islam is the religion that says thinking is haram. Thinking is the worst thing you could do. It's basically the same thing as practicing witchcraft.
I mean, how are you supposed to blame them, though, when that's what the Quran shows? Like,
Yep.
thinking leads you to leave Islam.
Mm-hmm.
Even Hikikachu would stand by this in his most recent debate, Debate Con 6. I think that's his most recent debate, at least one of his more recent ones. So, yeah, that's a problem.
Exactly. And if you take the Quran literally, then yes, Allah is directly responsible for every event that happens. There is no such thing as what you may think of as free will or cause and effect. If your horse gets sick, it's because Allah made it sick. It didn't get sick. Sorry, your camel. I don't know why I said horse. Your camel gets sick. It's because Allah made it sick. The fact that you had it arranging together with sick camels and then it got sick, that's just totally coincidence, according to the logic of Muhammad. And he has the ultimate comeback. If disease is transmittable, then how did the first camel get sick? You see, Muhammad was absolutely spot on his logic there. We can see from the proof of sick camels that in fact there is no such thing as cause and effect. Allah just directly determines everything that happens.
So my question is, why did Allah cause Al-Zut?
Well, probably because
he needed to give Muhammad the strength of 30 men.
Why?
What do you mean? So he would be super strong.
He couldn't do it any other way.
No,
that way.
I mean, if you saw the video I just posted, I mean, Muslims will say, you know, they'll have their version of the incarnation and so on, but when you read what they actually how they thought that worked, it's they're still like incorporating their weird scientific theories into it about how Allah has to go about things. So Allah has to give Mary both semens that will eventually, because they had the two semens theory. There's the male semen and the female semen, and then the male semen mixes with the female semen, and that's where you get a baby. But so for Allah to create Jesus born from a virgin, he had to make Mary have both semens. So she had the male semen in her spine, like all men do, according to Islam. and she had the female semen. And then in order to get her to release the male semen, he had to send in Jibril to blow into her vagina, which excited her desire, and then her spine ejaculated the male semen into her womb and formed. Anyway, the point is, that's how they're thinking of it. That's how they're thinking of this stuff. It's really weird that, you know, they'll have a statement, Allah just says be, and something comes into existence, and yet, no, here's how he actually has to do this weird stuff.
Yeah, I was wondering, like, so if, and this is a question I've asked a variant on for a long time. My normal question that I've asked for a long time is, if Mary could have a child without having a mate that was, you know, involved with her in that way, then why can't Allah? Because Allah's answer for why he doesn't have a son is, how could he have a son when he has no girlfriend, essentially? But the thing is, so then, like, why is it that Mary gets to have two semens or whatever, if that's the explanation, and Allah can't? Like, was Jibril just busy when Allah wanted a kid, or like, what's the deal?
Well, see, Allah is unlike anything in creation, so he doesn't have any semen at all. Well, but that's not true, because he does store his semen underneath his throne to release on the day of judgment, which apparently comes, I don't know how it's coming out. I don't know how it's coming out, and then Allah is storing it. Maybe Jibril is exciting him, so maybe he was busy that day, but I guess he doesn't have any female semen. Maybe that's the problem. That didn't exist until Allah created it.
But he does have a womb.
Yes, he does have a womb.
Well, maybe he has only female semen then. Who knows? But
he's got no game. That's where it comes down to.
Whatever semen he has, he's releasing it periodically and storing it underneath his throne, so that when the day of judgment comes, he can release it, rain it down on earth, and then when the semen hits the ground, the bodies will come out of the ground and come back to life, and then they can be judged. This is just scientific reality. I'm sorry if it's gross, but that's scientific reality according to the authentic traditions of Muhammad, which we all know are highly reliable. I do have a simpler explanation, though, because you said, why did Allah do this? And obviously the reason he triggered the Al-Zut is because he was hastening to meet Muhammad's desires, obviously, because that is what he does according to the hadith. Again,
Thaddeus, that would be a good beginning for a sort of summary video of Muhammad's night with Al-Zut. Quote Aisha saying that Allah hastens to satisfy Muhammad's desires, and then perfect lead in to the story of the men of Al-Zut.
There you go.
Honorable mentions to some other places as well.
If you haven't checked out David's video yet that he was referencing, I definitely recommend that one. It's one of my favorites all time of his. A lot of subtle humor in that one. Very, very top-notch stuff. And very
my new video?
Yeah.
My new video? Oh, yeah. That's top drawer material right there. So I was thinking since Christmas is coming up, I was thinking of covering the 2 Christmas stories, but going into what they really think with all this weird stuff.
I don't know. It's just weird that you exposed that you're the one who created the story about Al-Zut and highlighted the Muslim comments about that, and then just moved on.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he definitely created that. It definitely did not exist in the sources.
Yep. I woke up one day and I thought, I was talking to Brother Rashid. He's like, I heard that story my entire life.
David, the creator of Islam and the destroyer.
Mm-hmm. All right, we're now going to find out what Hush Hush found when he went over the ocean.
What did Hush Hush find? The record says he brought back spoils and a story of peoples beyond the horizon. But ask yourself this: do barren mid-ocean rocks explain spoils and descriptions of people, or does a peopled coast with trade make?
Wait, where the peoples?
Where's the description of people?
Yeah, where'd the people's description go? I must have missed that one. I read
it.
There
was no people.
I read it. Hang on. Let me read it again. The relevant part. Thus, a certain inhabitant of Cordoba, Kashkash by name, assembled a group of young men, his co-citizens, and went on a voyage on this ocean. After a long time, he returned with booty, not in the zoot sense. Every Spaniard knows this story. I missed the part where he met all these people.
Well, I guess booty can only come from people. It can only come from stealing. You know, he couldn't have just found.
Okay, I got it.
Treasure laying around. So
let me see
there
how
must
the other
have been
guy.
people there.
Let me see how the other guy translated it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the other guy translated as booty as well. Loaded with booty.
Another way we know that this is absolute false is because of diseases, actually, and viruses. As whenever the Europeans went and found America, you had the spread of the viruses that were commonplace in the old world, primarily due to cohabitation with animals. You start getting cross species contamination of different viruses, but the Americas didn't have that, so they were completely vulnerable to even the most simple virus going through. We don't see a massive die-off because of this expiration, but we do see that every time in future references when you have Europeans coming over. Just not in this one for some weird reason.
I think that he was definitely taking the Al Zoot story as inspiration if he was loading up on the booty. But the proposal here by Muslim Cowboy is that, well, you might just say that he ran into some barren rocks, as if those are the only two options, right? Either he discovered the America or he ran into some barren rocks, and that's where he got the treasure from. And now he's going to refute the highly proposed idea that he ran into some barren rocks.
Powerful.
The coast of South America fit the seamanship exactly.
Come on, man. Are you kidding me? If I sat there and if I were the Muslim Cowboy and I said, you know what, I want to make a video that they can make like 500 different zoot jokes out of, and then I can't say one sentence without leading right into a zoot joke. Like if you tried, you couldn't make it better than this. As it turns out, we're the experts in seamanship, everyone. If you know, you know. Wink. All right, let me continue making my point.
Mind you, this is like not very long after he talks about how well he knows his cattle, and I'm just like, ooh. In the same way that like Islam teaches you to know your cattle, in the same way that Muhammad wanted to know his cattle. Like, what are we talking about here? And now we're on this. All right.
If you don't know, those are things your right hands possess.
The seamanship, indeed. What's it with Muslims and seamen? I mean, he could have said like the sailor ship or something, but no, he said the seaman ship.
He had to say it, right? He had to say it. It's like, and following the example of our prophet, who was always covered in semen, we became the experts in seamanship. Come on, dude. Come on.
So he says the coast of South America fits this better than a barren rock. Yeah, I might give him that. But those aren't the only options, obviously.
How does it? Because, I mean, literally, you could find a barren rock that has gold on it, collect the gold, come back, and you would be the perfect fit for the story. There is no requirement for anything more than just booty. And guess what? Does that have to be gold?
No.
I mean, you could bring back anything of value, and there you go. You're good. Oy.
Yeah, so he showed a picture there of the some rocks in the middle of the sea, and if that's actually the rocks that he found, another ship could have easily crashed into that and left a bunch of stuff there.
It's just a road.
Let's see this again.
What did Khashkash find? The record says he brought back spoils and a story of peoples beyond the horizon. But ask yourself this: do barren mid-ocean
see this is the other option? The barren mid-ocean rock. which actually looks like it's a coast. You can see a rock in the distance, but this stock footage here of this barren ocean rock, well, that looks like the kind of thing a ship might accidentally run into. And then if no one knew where it was, the sailors on the ship would eventually die. And then he found the abandoned ship and took the stuff that was on that ship. Sounds plausible to me.
Rocks explain
That is.
spoils and descriptions of people, or does it?
Ships would never crash on rocks ever. There wouldn't be a need to make like houses with lights on top to prevent this. Obviously. Hey.
Incidentally, I did actually look up the passage in Arabic because it's written in Arabic, and the full version talks about the lighthouse at the Rock of Gibraltar. So coincidentally, the lighthouse is in the very passage.
Peopled coast with goods to trade make more sense. The Caribbean and the northern coast of South America fit the seamanship.
What do you mean trade? He said that they traded for this gold. What did they bring to trade with? Oh my goodness. They just loaded down their ship with an equal value of stuff as they left with, and that became a great legend.
Exactly. The current and, well, the outcome. He left with empty hands and he returned with them full.
I thought he traded.
Wait, what? Wait, what? Did he say he traded and then said he left with empty hands and came up?
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
Let's just like rewatch that just real quick. 'Cause that, I mean, it wasn't even like a minute in between. It's like, how many?
Hey, here's the thing. These guys like chronically make things up and embellish. I bet very soon you're gonna see he left with nothing but the Quran, and he traveled to the Americas, and they loved hearing the Quran so much because of its power that they just started handing him piles of gold, saying, "Oh, this beautiful Quran, it's such a beautiful sound, take all our gold." And that's why he came back with tons of booty.
Misha suggests maybe they traded seamen.
Barren mid-ocean rocks explain spoils and descriptions of people, or does a peopled coast with goods to trade make more sense? The Caribbean and the northern coast of South America fit the seamanship exactly. The current and, well, the outcome. He left with empty hands and he returned with them full. This implies contact.
Muhammad went into the desert and came back full. Anyway.
the seamanship implies contact. They went to the place of trade and they came with nothing except seamen, apparently, and then they came back with a full warship of booty.
Okay, I mean, just for example, ignore everyone else in this story. Just focus on the guy himself. So he went to this land with nothing or with stuff to trade, either way. Got a bunch of gold and came back, and then decided never to do this again. What? It'd be like, come back, buy more ships, go back over with more trade.
Yeah, you'd come back, and with all the money, you'd buy more ships, and you would sail as a group, and that's safer and works better, and that's what would have happened. So, I mean, seriously, what the Muslim Cowboy is saying is kind of a parallel to Islam and science and Islam in philosophy. They'll try something out, but they never continue with it, and it just fizzles out. Like they would conquer an area and get access to some science books, and then you'd see this little burst of scientific reasoning in the Muslim community, and then Islam would just suffocate it, and it would never go anywhere. And so that's what he's saying, that they had this voyage on their ship, came back, big old mountain of gold, and we would all think, oh, there's tons of gold over there, so obviously you're gonna keep that going. And no, they're just like, huh, what? Why would we want to do it over again? You already did it. We don't care how much gold's out there.
Dawa Troll says he has to come back. He's got to go trade some seamen for war booty, obviously. And Natha says you got to quit while you're on top, but of course not in the Al Zut sense, because that just continued, right? And just one after another. They definitely were not quitting when they were on top. But hush hush, he quit while he was on top. He was successful in his first voyage and said, I'm never doing this again. I have enough gold.
I
And
mean,
no
to
one
be
else wanted to
fair,
copy him either.
We never saw Muhammad go back, did we? He got what he needed.
That's true.
He made
They were
his
like that. They
trade.
were like, "Hey, should we go back for more journeys out there?" And they were like, "What did Muhammad do on the night of Al-Zut?" Oh, he just got what he came there for, and then it was all good to go. So, yeah, we got what we went for. That's it. Done. No more traveling.
Houston says, step 1, find the infinite money glitch. Step 2, never sail there again.
There you go.
Yes.
You could actually make fun of them seriously on this. So, yep.
Very accurate. All right, let me take a couple.
Hey, by the way, I mean, think about it. Like following their reasoning. I mean, why did America become what it became? Because, people went there and they're saying Muslims, we could have done that, but we were just too dumb or lazy or something like that. We could have done that. We could have taken over. We could have gone there, taken over the entire continent, and it would all be Muslim now. But we didn't connect the dots on that one.
Mm-hmm. It was a conspiracy to cover it up. Totally. Let me take a couple super chats from Christian Gadfly.
If you frequently say it, Allah would pay off your debts. So you can refer to it back again, inshallah.
Good advice there. Definitely continue to send in those donations so Allah can pay off all your debts. I almost wish Islam were true just so I could go to paradise and watch Daniel Hikachu and Farid in the bodies of green birds arguing for eternity. Over which one gets the freshly created Tanner Stage 2 virgins, obviously. Little Christian Friends triggered happy birthday twice, and Jack Ray with a super chat. And it will read in a second. Maybe. It got stuck somehow. I can see that it's stuck. Oh, it unstuck itself. Let's see if it. I don't know. Maybe it didn't work. I would say wingnuts assemble, but it seems you already did that with your panel. Yes, indeed. And if Muhammad Hijab reads that randomly, then I apologize. But I think it actually just didn't work. All right. We'll continue on with more amazing stuff from the video.
Now the receipts that make this more than a beautiful story. On his third voyage in 1498, Columbus records reports from the people of Hispaniola that black people had come to their island.
Wait a minute, on his third voyage? So he went back after his first voyage?
Yeah, he didn't take note from the Muslims and decided only to go once and done.
Yeah, and Columbus recorded on my third voyage. I ran into people, and they're like, "Hey, what happened to those dudes from 6 centuries ago that we all remember so well? Those idiots came here, and we were ready to shower them with money every time they came back, but they never came back, man. What's up with that?"
Indeed. So this is the receipts, right? This is the receipts of what happened in the year 896, I believe it was, is that in 1498, the people of the Caribbean islands or wherever Columbus landed on his third voyage, not 100% sure, said, "Don't you remember those black guys that came before?" Let's hear about this.
I mean, think about that though. It's like, okay, you got this huge ocean. And yeah, currents will steer you in sort of a general direction and so on. But you got North America, Central America, South America, the Caribbean islands. And conveniently, Columbus ended up in the same place. They're like, hey, 6 centuries ago, guys showed up. He didn't have anything, but we gave him a bunch of gold. He disappeared. We all remember this really, really well. What's up with that? What's up with that?
Yeah, that's the part that's just mind-blowing to me. It's like these guys remembered this. These weren't like stable civilizations. They were coming and going pretty rapidly.
Right. Over 6 centuries. Yeah. over 6 centuries, yeah, you'd have these groups conquering and like even with oral tradition and so on. Guys, think about this. You're talking 6 centuries. That would be like us remembering what happened 6 centuries ago without books and so on. And we live in the information age. You're talking about stuff 6 centuries ago. And how accurate do you think some little tribe somewhere on some island would, I don't know. This is just, you could, let me put it this way. This is exhibit Q in why generations of first cousin marriage lowering your IQs is a recipe for dawah.
So you have that in the area. You have constant war going back and forth. You have just people trying to survive. So this is like bare minimum subsistence. You did have an empire finally rise up. Oh yeah, they kill it all. They're big into human sacrifice, by the way. Actually, everyone in that area was. But that being said, they also wrote things in stone. So they're big into carving things into stone. Which, if it was such a big deal, we should see it somewhere.
Let's continue on here. Yeah, I think that maybe on Columbus's third voyage, he did actually land on Florida. I'm not 100% sure which voyage is which. So maybe it was Florida where Mr. Hush Hush landed. Who knows?
From the south and the southeast. Those visitors, well, they traded spearheads made of a metal called guanine. Now, Columbus sent samples to the royal assayers to figure out what it was made of. The result came back 32 parts, 18 gold, 6 silver, and 8 parts copper. That's the ternary alloy that West African smiths were famous for. The direction matches the Guianas and Brazil, the very lane the Canary current feeds.
So somehow, right? Somehow this is Arabized Muslims in Spain are bringing the technology from West Africa to the people in Americas, and they've retained this kind of silver or metalsmith over the years. And it was just so good that 6 centuries later, they're making this type of metal instead of some other type of metal. And then they gave it to Columbus, and then he took it home. And then he had the scientist of the day determine the exact parts. And they're like, Alhamdulillah, this proves that Muslims were in America. I think that's how the story goes. I'm not quite sure.
After all, America is known for metalworking. I mean, seriously, how precise can you be with your measurements at the time? He's like talking about like these exact percentages. Like, what were they? What scientific units? What sort of technology were they using to test this? Because this is the sort of stuff we have nowadays that we could do this level of analysis on artifacts, not them in the.
Yeah. So let's say for sake of argument, this is a true statement, which I'm sure it's not, but let's say for the sake of argument, it's true. Wouldn't that indicate that West Africans sailed the ocean, not Muslims from Spain? Just wondering. It's very strange that this is supposedly evidence of something. All right.
Words can be argued. However, metal does not lie. Put that next to Kashkash and watch.
Metal doesn't lie, unlike us Muslims.
Yeah, but Muslims definitely do. This is really bad.
As the horizon widens, a Muslim navigator sails west in 889 and returns with spoils. 6 centuries later, islanders talk of dark-skinned mariners arriving from the south and southeast, and their traded metals match West African practice between those bookends. The ocean has...
What do you mean they're traded metals? They've been using that same piece of metal that they got from Hush Hush, who left empty-handed, but traded the metal that he didn't have with them 6 centuries ago?
What sort of metal is this? Because what sort of metal is this? Because if it's like iron, I mean, it's got to last how many years?
600. It was like half gold, which gold's really soft. I don't think that that's a very good thing to make a tool out of.
It's not.
Plus, why would they need iron when Allah sent it down?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You'd think they would have just brought some of the iron that Allah had gifted them with. Apparently, this is the proof that Allah ordains war for Muslims. In fact, is that He sends down the prophets with iron. He teaches them to wage war. That's how most of the classical tafsirs interpret it. This is Allah saying to wage war on people. He gives the Muslims iron, which makes good weapons. So instead of trading those good weapons, they traded some random half gold thing for other valuable metals, apparently. And they've been using the same tool for 6 centuries. And then they traded to Columbus. And then he brings it back, and then his people analyze it and they're like, this is African. Oh my goodness.
This is like this whole thing is like if Candace Owens converted to Islam and tried to connect all these dots. It's like, oh, we got this and we got this and we got this, and you put it all together and it's this.
Mm-hmm. Sadly, we're only halfway through. There's a lot more nonsense to come.
Never changed. That road is still the same. Here's where 2 Muslim historians press the case. Dr. Gerald F. Dirks lays
oh my goodness.
The early Muslim...
You know that guy?
Gerald Dirks. Yeah, go ahead.
Voyages recorded in Islamic sources, later Muslim presence documented in the Americas, and a simple call to connect what the ocean allows with what the texts actually report. If a navigator from Cordoba returned with goods in 889, if Caribbean chiefs prized an alloy that matches West Africa, and if we later find African Muslims in large numbers in the American South, then the most reasonable reading is not...
What the...
Where are they?
No. American South, African Muslims. You're not drawing it. It's from, the mass conversion of African Americans to Islam in the 1950s, 60s, whatever. That's the proof, right? Because they're converting back to Islam.
You should see a massive Native American Muslim group here, right? You shouldn't see, and Africa didn't have anything to do with it. These were Spaniards that came across.
He says African Muslims in the American South. I mean, so apparently there was no transatlantic slave trade. They were just Muslims who came here voluntarily and colonized Southern America. Oh my goodness. Did he even think about what he was saying? Like, why would he cite that as a piece of evidence?
That the West was a wall. It was open water that someone was already crossing. Dr. Abdullah Hakim Quick points to the westbound current. He speaks about Arabic-speaking geographers who placed lands in the Western Sea centuries before Columbus in 1492, and to West African ambition, kings and mariners facing the sunset and moving towards it. He reminds us that you do not risk fleets, reputation, wealth, and life on a futureless ocean unless you have prior knowledge. Prior knowledge comes from prior.
You mean like someone who already went across it and came back with a pile of gold? That sort of prior knowledge?
No. What he's saying is that the West African nations invested in ships because they already had knowledge of the Americas, but then they never sent their ships there.
See, I thought you were saying that you wouldn't risk like your fleets going across there until you already knew that it was safe to go. So then you would just send your fleets over there to go get the gold. But that's not what happened.
I think his genius argument is that the only reason that West Africans would build ships is to cross the Atlantic Ocean. And the only reason they would build lots of ships is because they already knew they could cross the Atlantic Ocean. They would never have built ships to, sail in the Mediterranean Sea, for example. No way. They wouldn't do that. The only possible reason to build a ship is to sail across the Atlantic. And so they built lots of ships and then never sailed across the Atlantic. That's his argument. Because you can only sail west. You can never sail north, south, or east.
Where exactly in
west.
Africa were they supposed to be sailing from? Because if you're talking about Spain, that's one thing. If you're talking about Africa, they are not technologically advanced. I mean, seriously, the biggest empire later on, even way past this point, would have been the Mali Empire down there in Africa. And their big thing is they had gold, already had gold, by the way, multiple gold mines, but they didn't even have locks on their door. They didn't even have the capability of buying actual locks and putting them on the door. That would have been odd. So they don't even have that technological advancement. They're supposed to be able to make ships to sail across this huge ocean. No, absolutely not. And that was even long after this was supposed to have happened.
Did this cowboy have a head injury as a child? I actually don't know his supposed conversion story. But it could have been done as an adult, right? He could have been kicked in the head by one of his farm animals. That happens. And then he's like, oh, man, I can't think anymore. I've realized that Islam is the truth. Unless he converts. I don't know. I have no idea why he converted, to tell you the truth. Anyone else know his story?
Money.
Well, that's a probability. But what his supposed story is. No, okay. Just his love of child marriage, I guess.
Converted. Let's see. He had a problem with was it women in the Bible not having direct names and just being alluded to, such as the wife of Cain. Oh no, that's one of his videos. I did a video on it not too long ago.
But the Quran, none of them have names.
There's one woman in the Quran that has names. Okay, don't be too nitpicky.
And the Bible doesn't know Jesus' mother's name, right? Whereas the Quran does, and therefore the Bible is just wrong when it knows the name of, say, Adam's wife or Abraham's wife or the queens of Israel or whatever. Since it knows their names, that's a really bad reason to stay in Christianity. You got to convert to Islam because the Quran says all of their names as the wife of whoever.
Yeah,
he seriously cites that as a reason.
No,
you're not making this up.
No. He said, I'll read the Bible until I run into an error. And he starts going through the Bible and it just keeps flipping because he doesn't actually read it. He just flips. And he gets to where Cain is sent out after killing Abel. And he goes a ways away and then he finds his wife and they know each other. And he's like, where'd that woman come from? It couldn't possibly be from anywhere. So the Bible's wrong because it didn't name her. There's only like 5 people named in the Bible at this point, and she's not one of them. And they're like, seriously? That's your issue?
Great. So Adam doesn't have a wife, according to Islam, because his wife's not named.
Yeah. That would be my point in the video. It's like, okay, there's like so many women just referred to as wife of so-and-so.
So if that is, in fact, what he said as a reason why he converted, then I think it's 100% grift. Because there's no way that is remotely related to any reason. Now, if he said something about he saw the moral decay of society or something, I could at least believe that would be a nonsense reason to convert. Or someone told me about the great scientific evidence of the Quran, or someone told me it was the best religion for white cowboys. I don't know. But I read the Bible and it didn't have the name of Cain's wife, so I converted to Islam. Makes zero sense whatsoever.
Well, he says he took it to a pastor, and his pastor just told him that he has to believe. He has to have faith. And he's like, that's not enough evidence. So you switched to Islam? Really?
Does it tell you who Cain's wife is in Islam? I mean, what the heck is this?
No.
He's got to be 100% a grifter then, if that's really what he claims. He couldn't even come up with a better story than that. Seriously?
I don't know if he that is his core reason of leaving, but that is at least what he said when he said he'd read the Bible until he found an error.
All right. You think that he would have at least cited something in Genesis 1? I mean,
that's what I thought he was going to go for. I thought he was going to go for the whole second creation of women, where you have the 2 tailings. of the same creation story, and then say, ah, see, that's an error. He skipped right over that. He's with the Cain's wife. This is the proof.
Or, you know, creating plants before the sun or something like that. But no, Cain doesn't have a wife. So he jumps to what, like Genesis 4? He can't find any errors in Genesis 1 through 3, or, you know, anything he could pretend is an error anyway. And the first thing that he could pretend was an error in the Bible was that Cain's wife is not named. Got it. This is Islam, I guess. This is Islam.
You're missing a little bit up here, my friend. Like, you're not even paying attention.
Yes. I don't know if I've seen that one before on here.
That's a good one.
It's the only one I have of Muslim Cowboy on my soundboard, but he's actually talking about Sneeko, incidentally. He's saying that Sneeko is stupid.
Means that somebody came home. This is what return with spoils really means. It means landfall. It means trading partners. It means a crew that not only found their way out, but timed the homeward arc. Riding the northward trades down the westerlies back, angling
Hold
the
on.
Azores and then into safe.
What do you mean trading partners?
Yeah, so he came home with trading partners. So they were swapping semen and coming home with them.
What? If you're talking about like, oh, we established trading partners, that applies a long-term relationship, not a one-off deal, which is what he's claiming.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is so somehow he gets from he brought back stuff to, well, he must have traveled the entire Atlantic Ocean, established trading partners. Even though he left empty-handed, they were happy to trade for something, semen, I guess. And then after establishing these trading partners and them proving to be highly profitable, no one ever went back until Columbus. Got it.
Water for Al-Andalus. That round trip pattern is the heartbeat of the Atlantic. Khashkash wrote it. Why doesn't the record...
that pattern, he definitely wrote it. Not in the Elzu sense, but he definitely wrote that pattern across the Atlantic Ocean because, you know, that's how you get across the Atlantic Ocean. And we've already established he crossed the Atlantic Ocean because there's West African metal alloys in Florida or wherever he said they were. Got it.
You can just see the parallel with this and everything in Dawa. Like they'll take some little verse that isn't saying anything, they'll twist it in a certain way, interpret it in a certain way, and then just build this amazing theory about how it connects to everything. And it's like that's what they've always done with Dawa, and now they're doing it with apparently history and so on. We'll take this thing, extremely vague. Can't figure out what it's even talking about. There are very obvious explanations that would make it plausible, but that's not what you're saying. And then just build this deranged theory out of it.
Okay.
Mary takes Eric's argument and makes it better. She said, proof they didn't run into the New World, they didn't introduce syphilis. Because that's the one disease that Europeans, the primary disease that the New World brought back or gave to Europe through the transatlantic trade was syphilis. Do we really believe that the Muslims were not having sex with the people they discovered in this new land? Come on. They're stealing all their gold. Of course, they're raping them as well. That's part of conquest. So since they didn't bring syphilis back to Spain, they definitely didn't make it to the Americas.
Okay. So that is, I put it in the... I left my goat at home. I put it in the chat.
Okay, I'll check it out.
Video from, and I forgot it's even worse. He calls it an irreconcilable contradiction that proves that this is not from God. And I'm saying, like, what? So there you go. I read the Bible straight through, all of 7 minutes.
Mm-hmm. Well, he did stop when he found the first error. And for some reason, even though you can find, like, say, atheist videos that claim there's 20 errors in Genesis 1, he couldn't find any of those. Goodness gracious. Oh, all right. So we're going back. We're making another attempt at this. Hopefully he doesn't say road seamen some more.
Give us a street in the shoreline, you might ask, because medieval travel accounts often name the feat, note the return, and they don't really care about the coordinates. The sailor's survival and his return with the goods back home, that's what stuck. The exact bay fades. That's not convenient, though, for a textbook. It's absolutely normal, though, for that era. So here's the line that you can...
So I guess he's answering... So he's now proposing why the tale is so vague, right? Why they didn't record how to get back and get more gold. Well, they just didn't care. They just didn't care about going back.
Yeah. The exact reasons, those small details, just where, when, what the purpose was, if you actually talked to anyone. Yeah, those are just vague details. The only thing that mattered is he came back with gold and no one cared about going and getting more gold.
With all those trading partners that they had.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they established trading partners, but they didn't record how to get back to them or anything. Now, I didn't think of this as an objection. I think of like a million other things as an objection, but they're not saying the exact sea route wasn't on the top of my list. But thankfully, he's answering all the important objections. But he doesn't answer whether, for example, they could have gone a direction other than west.
Hold without blinking. His name, Khashkhash ibn Sa'id al-Qurtubi, a Muslim pioneer. Where? Al-Andalus, centered on Cordoba. The year was 889. What did he do? He crossed the Atlantic and he returned with spoils. And what is reported by Al Mas'udi is that this is a well-known story in Spain. The seamanship, the Canary Current, northeast trades, latitudinal sailing, tough coastal craft. Inference that fits the facts. A peopled landfall with goods to trade, best explained by the Caribbean or the northern shoulder of South America. And here's the clincher that turns the possibility into a pattern. And
he's going to give us the grand proof. All that was just the setup for the grand proof that this actually occurred. I hope everyone's ready. You're going to be want to convert to Islam because apparently.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say because apparently, if Muslims traveled the Atlantic Ocean, that proves Islam is true. All right, brace yourself. We got the proof.
98, those islanders speak of black mariners from the south and southeast. They trade guanine. We know what the assay says. That alloy belonged to West African Muslims. The current points from Africa to the Caribbean. Now we put Khashkhash back on that road and the picture snaps into focus completely. Do I think Khashkhash reached the Americas? Yes, because the water takes you there. The skills existed to ride it, and the record says he came home with something more than empty tells. And later testimony lines up with African contact in the very direction that current delivers you. And we have more stories to come on that same contact.
Oh boy, more stories.
His later testimony doesn't even line up with his former testimony. So his grand proof is they had this medal that they wouldn't have had anyway if he had actually done this, because Kush or whatever didn't even have anything to drop off to begin with. But they have it now, so it proves that he gave it to them. And also, the water takes you there. Yes, thank you, Apostate of Allah. I was like, what? The water takes you there? That's like the proof?
Mm-hmm.
It's just, I mean, it's so incredibly stupid. It's such an easy thing. No, it's really, really, really hard. And if you're just, no, it's easy. Just grab on a boat, jump on there, and it'll take you over there and take you right there. And then you get piles of gold and come on back. Mm-hmm. Dude, you're making 0 sense. If you had some easy thing to do, that would get you piles and piles of gold.
Uh-oh.
Do the math, dude. What you'd have to say is that the Muslims there were just so incredibly like the dumbest people who've ever walked the planet, and so add that to your explanation, Muslim Cowboy. They were just so incredibly dumb that they did not realize you could just repeat this process endlessly and get endless gold, and then take over the entire continents. I don't know. It's kind of like this is all made to appeal to really stupid people, and it's like it just sucks because what do you do? They're too dumb to understand your responses. They're too dumb to understand like all the insane leaps that are being made here. And wow, bad stuff.
Now, just as a point of reference, because he seems to continuously make this sound like it's just like driving to the supermarket or something like that. Some easy little trip you did. Just to let you know, Christopher Columbus's first voyage, he had higher technology, he had better ships, and that took him 61 days approximately.
No, the water took him.
The water took him 61 days to get there. No, it's not an easy, quick journey.
But you don't need a big ship. You don't need a big ship. You could just go out with a couple men in your tiny little rowboat, and the water's going to take you all the way across the Atlantic Ocean. You don't have to drink or eat or anything. You'll be there by dinner time. And then, of course, you need food and water for the return trip as well. So either you're going to have to get 60 days worth of food from the natives that you are trading with, even though you got there empty-handed, or you're going to have 120 days of food and water on your ship for all your men. It's going to take up some space in the ship for sure. But, you know, a tiny little ship, it's just super easy, guys. You just get in a boat and the ocean does all the work. All right, let me take a couple of super chats from Pants Schmantz.
Real quick.
We're asking you to give a loan to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and believe me, that will be paid back in ways you can never imagine.
Who is it that would loan Allah a goodly loan so he may multiply it for him many times over?
Allahu Akbar. I love that verse. Every time we donate to projects, we're giving a loan to our Creator, the most generous, who will return it to us in this life.
Brothers and sisters, can you afford to miss out on this opportunity?
So Elle was not quick enough there. She said real quick, but I'd already pushed the button. Pinchman says Muslim Cowboy needs a bigger hat. What do you have to say to that, Elle?
He needs better theology. I really don't care about his hat. Now I was just gonna make one more comment on the food thing, because yeah, food is fairly important for that long of a journey. But we were told he left empty-handed. So
Allah miraculously provided food, and there's plenty of water to drink. Well, they didn't need any water. I mean, that's the level of this argument. There's just a giant ocean of water. What do they need to bring water for?
Well, they didn't. They brought camels with them and just drank the camel pee.
There you go. Proves it. Jack Ray said Mike Winger in the house. I guess I don't know if that's me or that's you, David, but either way, one of us is Mike Winger. And then Islamic Knowledge said, Allahu Akbar. Allah is the only true God. Yes, totally. He's the God that inspired you to believe this ridiculous story, or inspired Muslim Cowboy at least to believe this ridiculous story. Clearly a very wise God. Loaves of bread with a super chat.
If you frequently say it, Allah would pay off your debts. So you can refer to it back again, inshallah.
Muslims will ignore your arguments, like Abd ibn Masud ignored Muhammad's screams on the night of Al-Zut. The Norse sold Englishmen to Arabs for gold. Hopefully Muslims are ignoring the Muslim Cowboy on this one. Hopefully. But I don't have my hopes up, right? This video only has like 3,000 views, but probably most of those 3,000 people who watched it believed it and are now like, oh yes, Muslims totally discovered the Americas. This is rightfully our land. We will take it back. David is not going for any of my Winger jokes. Indeed, he's not.
Not falling for
All
it.
right.
I mean, he confessed it on Twitter, though. You guys all saw David confess on Twitter that he's Mike Winger, right?
Mm-mm.
I saw the post.
You saw nothing.
Saw everything.
All right, let's continue the video.
And now, one last whisper from that far shore. Centuries after 889 and before Columbus, there are reports of shipwrecked sailors from North Africa taken by native people along the American coast, held, questioned, and then released when a man stepped forward from the Indians of America speaking Arabic. The archivists are still chasing the...
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, he actually, yeah. He's making this claim.
So Hush Hush goes there, steals a bunch of gold, and apparently teaches them Arabic, which they continue to speak.
Arabic. He teaches them Arabic, which they continue to speak for centuries. And are you kidding me?
And then a later ship from or this time from Africa, crashes, and the natives are like, "What are you doing here?" And then one of the natives comes forward and says, "I speak Arabic like they do. You can let them go." And then they got back in their shipwrecked ship and returned to Africa.
First cousin marriage, guys. First cousin marriage. That's what it does.
Perfect page, but if that scene happened even once, it means this. Long before Columbus, Arabic...
If that scene happened even once.
No, we got to rewind that. We got to hear what he said, okay?
Reports of shipwrecked sailors from North Africa taken by native people along the American coast, held, questioned, and then released when a man stepped forward from the Indians of America speaking Arabic. The archivists are still chasing the perfect page, but if that scene happened even once, it means this. Long before...
There's no evidence of it ever happening. They can't find it.
Yeah, what he's saying, no one can find evidence of this story, but if it happened...
I can tell you they're not going to find any evidence of this story. Why Muslim Cowboy? Because that would again require us to believe that this guy taught these people Arabic and that they some guy just centuries later remembers Arabic. It's so insanely stupid.
Yeah, from the one brief contact where they stole all their gold, they learned Arabic and then retained it for, 10, 20 generations, but only in one guy, right? Not the whole tribe, just one guy in the tribe.
Yeah, by the way, everyone who's watching, since you're seeing all this now and seeing how completely stupid this is, you should go and get in a dialogue with the Muslims who are falling for this over on the channel. Just start asking them some of these basic, obvious questions that it doesn't occur to them to ever ask.
Link to the video is in the description. Should easily be able to get some comments near the top of the list, since if even if only 20 people go over there, it would probably be enough, but as many people should go over there as possible. Leave some comments, upvote other recent comments making fun of this. And while you're there, entertain yourself by reading the Muslim comments who are like, "Alhamdulillah, this is so awesome. I can't believe our history has been forgotten."
Yes, there's a lot of those.
For Columbus, Arabic had already crossed, which means somebody brought it, which means somebody made it.
Oh, I thought that was the end, but looks like he's coming back.
And then we have artifacts and cave drawings. But that's for next time.
Real quick.
Remember the name and number.
Where's the next time? There is no next time. He says these great things like there's so much more to come.
We got artifacts and cave drawings, people. Go ahead, Elle.
Just so that I make sure I understand correctly, what was he saying somebody made?
Made the trip. So he's saying so he says that he proposes this story, which then he says no one has ever found any evidence of this story. And then he says, if they're speaking Arabic, that means someone made it, meaning made the trip across the ocean.
Okay, I thought he was saying like someone made the Arabic, because that was what he immediately had just said. I was saying, wait, didn't Allah make Arabic supposedly? Like, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, obviously, when Hush Hush got here, his first priority was stealing as much stuff as possible, but then his second priority was going into caves and writing on the wall, obviously.
Remember Khashkash 889, not a slogan, but a sailor, a route, a return, and a wake that, if you listen closely, is still breaking on a Caribbean beach. This is the Muslim Cowboy, and this is Lost Muslim History. Until next time, salam.
It's
all right. This is Lost
it's the same
Muslim
thing.
History.
It's the same thing over and over again. It's the same thing with biblical prophecies about Muhammad and so on. It's they'll go to a verse and no one's ever thought of connecting this verse to Muhammad. So they can give that to a bunch of Muslims and they'll run out and say, see, this is Muhammad, Deuteronomy 18:18. See, this is about Muhammad. John 14:16. This is about Muhammad. They'll do that, and most people aren't familiar with it, and so it will work for a while. You catch people off guard to something they're not familiar with, and you tell them a bunch of stuff, and if they don't look into it, you think, oh, they know what they're talking about. They're completely wrong, and then eventually you expose them for being wrong, and then they change their argument. They start arguing for other passages. And that will work for a little while until enough people catch on to expose that one. And then they'll switch to another one and another one and another one. This is another example of that. You can go to any person in America or anywhere else and say, hey, did you know Muslims made it to America? What? Muslims made it to America? Yes, we've heard. Yeah, we've got the records, man. They sailed over here and got a bunch of gold and came back, and there were trading partners and all this stuff going on. And we've got cave drawings, and the guy was literally there speaking Arabic. No one's going to be familiar with that at all. And so they'll just run with that for a little while. And until we eventually just crush it, and then it fizzles out. But it's like, why does it? Muslims, if Islam is the truth, why does it have to constantly rely on making things up that can't stand up to any scrutiny? And then as soon as people take a look at it and look into it, then you switch to another lie. Like, why would the truth need that as its methodology? Seems like something completely false needs that as its methodology. So anyway.
So Avas Tenebras says Lost Muslim History, aka
I made it up anyways.
Indeed.
Yeah.
So I do have an article here. Oh wait, hold on. Let me take a couple super chats first, and then this actually academic article talking about attempts to say people came to the Americas. So from Cheryl.
O son of Adam, spend. I will spend on you. Give, then I will give you. It's difficult because you know what? These are my last few. As it is, the price is going up, the rand is going down, this is happening. Excuses. Those are excuses. You give and watch what Allah does.
Thank you for not making any excuses. Cheryl says, I might have believed them if the claim was that they dropped some golden tablets off in upstate New York for Joseph Smith, but nah, no claim to North America allowed. Well, technically he said that they were in the Caribbean and maybe South America. He didn't say North America. So there is that. But of course, there is also a claim by Mormons that Jesus came to America. I think he was miraculously transported. I don't think it was on a boat, but either way, he came to America, brought the true Christianity to America. And then the native people accepted it, but then they forgot it. But fortunately, it was written on gold tablets before they forgot it. And then Joseph Smith miraculously dug them out of the ground, translated them, and then an angel took them back to heaven. I would say that story is more plausible than this story about Muslims coming to America. Tough call, though. Tough call. Loaves of Bread with a super chat.
Sir, how can we contribute financially for your organization? They get in touch with me. And very easy, people know where I am. And once they get in touch with me to contribute without causing problem, to contribute in big amounts. And many people call me for lunch and for dinner and for meal. And for every meal, they give big amounts, alhamdulillah. So those who really want to contribute, they come and meet me.
Loaves of Bread says, cousin marriage caused low IQ fast, only 300 years. I did a live stream yesterday with Mary looking at some of the hard numbers. You know, I'd heard for years and years, I'd heard people like making fun of Muslims for cousin marriage and whatnot, and I just totally ignored it. And then Daniel gets up there and says, yes, this is what makes Islam so great, is that we believe in cousin marriage. And I was like, well, maybe I should actually look into it. And I was shocked. I was absolutely shocked. When I heard high rates of cousin marriage, I was like, yeah, maybe it's like 10% or something, right? It would still be extraordinarily high. But no, in fact, it is above 50% in most of the Gulf countries, and as high as 64% in Pakistan and Afghanistan, and even higher in the UK, with the Pakistani Muslim communities there exceeding 75% cousin marriages. So it turns out it actually is quite common. It is actually quite
It's
common
extremely
indeed.
common, and those problems build up generation after generation after generation. And so we're seriously in a race right now. You've got the people who have the highest birth rates are the ones who are building up the most problems and lowering their IQ the most, and therefore their ability to even see the problems with Islam or to see how stupid these arguments are. And this is bad. On Zakir Naik right there. So you play that Zakir Naik clip. So anyway, I went over to his channel because I was like, why would people support Zakir Naik right now? No one listens to him anymore. And so I went to his YouTube channel, but his most recent video, 2,000 views, 2,500 views before that, 2,600 views before that, 3,300 views before that, 2,300 before that, 4,300, 3,500, 2,800, 3,100, 2,800, 2,300, 31. This guy, you got to go back a while to find something that breaks 5,000. And so it's like for someone with 4 million subscribers, it means that his subscribers do not watch him anymore. They're watching someone else now. If he had like 5,000 subscribers, these would be good numbers. 5,000, 10,000, 20,000, any of that. If you're getting those kinds of numbers with those numbers of subscribers, but when you have 4 million and you have trouble getting 4,000, guys, if you have 4 million subscribers and you have trouble getting 4,000 views, that means it's trouble getting 1 out of every 1,000 of your subscribers to click on one of your videos. And why give this guy big amounts, right? There are other Dawah guys. You should be giving big money to Ali Dawah, Muhammad Hijab. Maybe he can pay off his lawsuits and so on. Daniel Hakikachu, because keep in mind, Daniel Hakikachu is a much more effective defender of first cousin marriage than Zakir Naik could ever hope to be. But you don't need more videos by Zakir Naik. He's not doing anything. You need more first cousin marriage if you want Islam to stick. That's just the way it is.
Mm-hmm.
Not only first cousin marriage, but underage first cousin marriage.
So this video is probably going to get well above 3,000 views. The stats on your screen say 900-ish, but that's well behind. The API doesn't report real-time numbers. The real-time number is 1,700 already on this video, and I'm sure there'll be many more. And that video I referenced earlier from Christian Gadfly has over 5,000 views, and he has 2,600 subscribers. So if 2,600 subscribers is getting more views than Zakir Naik with 4 million subscribers.
Yeah, when you're getting more views than you have subscribers and things like that. That means that like your subscribers are watching it and they're liking it, and the algorithm is seeing that they like it and they're sharing it with other people. Think about that. When Zakir Naik posts a video, that algorithm is not sending it. I mean, it's sending it to some of his subscribers, and a tiny little group of them watch, and then it's not sending it out to anyone else because it's just like people just aren't clicking on this. They're not interested in this stuff. And not good times for Dawah, man. Bad times for Dawah.
Now, interesting snippet here. So I was looking up Muslim Cowboy. The original channel he had is now an archive. He abandoned his original channel with 177,000 subscribers. And now he's on his new channel here with 500 subscribers and change. And that's where you have the video that you linked to, Thaddeus. That's the second time it's been uploaded. It was uploaded on his original channel first. It's where I saw it. And it took me a while to realize that he had abandoned his first channel and created a new one. So yeah, this is not the first time he's tried selling this. This is the second time. So very interesting.
All right. Well, I'll link to the other one then. I just searched for Muslim Cowboy, right? And I clicked on the channel called Muslim Cowboy rather than the one called Muslim Cowboy Archive. I didn't realize that. But you know what that means? That means that his first channel got demonetized, and that's why he created a second channel. I can guarantee that's why he did that. So he's like, oh, I'll retain it as an archive, but I need to start a new channel so I can actually make some money.
Oh man, because I said, hey, why you guys sending your money to your big donations to Zakir Naik when no one pays attention to him anymore, and not Ali Dawa? And then I went ahead and clicked on Ali Dawa's channel, and it's like, are all these guys' channels? He's doing way better than Zakir Naik, but the point is, he's not doing anywhere near as well as he was doing 3 years ago or more. So you go back, if you click on popular, it's 8 years ago, 4.3 million views on a video. So, but that's 8 years ago, 4.3 million, 3.9 million 3 years ago, 3.6 million 9 years ago, 2.8 million 8 years ago. So his sweet spot, not the zoot sense, was like 7 to 9 years ago as far as getting lots of views. If you look more recently, it's 44,000. Again, still way better than Zakir Naik, but you're not getting anywhere near what you used to get. From the video before that, 6.4 thousand, so 6,400, then 73, 39,000. Is this stuff just looks like it's I don't know, are people paying attention to other stuff, or is just like Dawa in general dying? Is anyone getting like big? Is anyone like growing and expanding and getting more and more views? Because it's definitely not the guys we're familiar with.
I have not seen someone coming up yet.
Well, I think maybe Orthodox Muslim is probably growing.
Oh yeah, but growing, but it's like a little, like he's not becoming like million view popular, is he?
No, probably not. But I think he might be the closest thing to a rising star. Someone in the chat just suggested Junior, which he certainly is getting a lot more attention.
Oh, don't worry, Junior. You'll be getting plenty of attention in 2026. Not in a zoot sense, but we'll help you get some attention. Looking over here at Hijab's channel. So he did get 60,000 for his most recent, but I'm looking at 29,000 before that, 45,000 before that. Then it's a video about a fight, and so that got 159,000. But I mean, you're talking like 45,000 in his response to the Islamic dilemma, which was one of the dumbest things ever. But this is not looking good for these guys, man. Not looking good for these guys.
And your video on the Islamic dilemma, I watched it like maybe 12 hours after it was published and already had like 80, 90,000 views at that point. And so his gets 40,000 total. He's probably the most popular guy. And that's the best, the best response, at least in terms of number of views, probably. And your video gets twice that in the first 12 hours.
Yeah, by the way, you are right. So you said Orthodox Muslim? Orthodox Lips? Because so Orthodox Lips, I'm checking his out. So today he had a video today that's 8,000. So that's just today though. But 19,000 before that, but 51,000 3 days ago. New evidence that proves the Quran true. So anyway, point is those are good numbers for someone with 70,000 subscribers. He's got 70,000 subscribers. He had 50,000 views a couple days ago. Those are decent numbers. And before that, a little lower, 19,000, 22,000, and so on. But point is, he's getting numbers that are sort of in the range of like what Ali Dawa is getting now, but he's got a tiny fraction of the subscribers. So it's not looking good for Dawa.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, this year has been horrendous for Dawa.
The year's not over.
Yeah,
but this is the normal pattern, right? A guy comes up, he gets really popular, and then they all abandon him as soon as he says something stupid. Go
Yeah,
ahead, Elle.
that's what I mean though, because it's like waves, right? It's like waves. You get the new guy, he'll become super popular, everyone's sharing his stuff, and then fizzles out, and the next wave come in and stuff. And it's like, where's the next wave? The next wave are guys who are just getting okay numbers for 70,000 subscribers, but they're not getting the, like, you know, these viral videos that get 5 million views and stuff anymore. They're just not doing it. And I always look at where things are going, not where things are. And I'm like, if you guys fallen this far, this fast over the past few years, what's this time next year looking like? What's this time 5 years from now looking like?
Bad for Dawa. That's what.
Really bad for Dawa.
I mean, if they have half as bad of a year as they've had this year, it is like done. Eesh.
Oh, they're going to be having a bad year.
A very bad year.
They're going to be
Elle,
having
you
a
want to
very
say
bad year.
something?
Yeah, so something that I found interesting when I was pulling up this whole Muslim Cowboy thing to see what was going on with this archive channel and everything for myself, I noticed some very interesting things. First, I noticed that, of course, he's got his archive channel first. But then after that, now, of course, this is on my YouTube, so search results may vary by that. But the next two videos that pulled up on here weren't even by him. And I have watched his channel, so... And then after that is this. Well, so some other things that I noticed are when we go to his old channel, we see something that lends credence to your theory, because he brags about how his archive channel is all ad-free. But notice, when we go to his new channel, I don't see anything about that. So I thought that was interesting. But yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, he abandoned his channel of 177,000 subscribers to start a new one because he wanted to make money. I don't see any other reason he would have possibly done that.
No,
I don't know why he would have got demonetized, but
yeah,
know,
I mean,
it could
I have no problem with that. I'm just wondering, like, how he gets, because the stuff you'd have to say to get demonetized if you're a Muslim. It's just like, what do you have to say? I mean, Ali Dawa is sitting there telling AP that as soon as we rise to power, we're gonna kill you apostates, and I'm gonna be sitting there watching popcorn. And that got pointed out to YouTube, and YouTube's like, yeah, you know, we're not here to stifle debate. And what you really mean is we have lower standards for this entire group of people out there. But I mean, think about this. I mean, defending child marriage left and right, and YouTube never has a problem. So, like, what could this guy have possibly posted that would just get his channel just completely demonetized?
Especially because it seems to not have been the first occurrence of a new channel, because here on his primary channel, his archive now channel, he has his top link to this Brandon Estes official. When we click on that,
Brandon,
it's gone.
Ooh, it's gone.
It's gone.
I take it that's his real name.
Just
yeah,
interesting observations.
Well,
here, I'll get your little reaction for you.
There's that, and the fact that he went from 177,000 subscribers to 500.
5,000.
5,000. Sorry, 5,000 subscribers and he's done this months ago. So this is not, he didn't just like do this yesterday. He's done this months ago, and he's not even at 10% of his original size.
I wonder if he did like you think he would have like at least done a video like, hey, subscribe to the new channel or something, but he doesn't seem to have even done that. He does. Nope. I was going to say he's using the community page. He's kind of using the community page on the old one. Oh, he's linking to the videos. So on the community page, he's linking to the videos as they're published on the new channel. So he really doesn't have any excuse to not be bringing people over.
Well, what's probably happening is they're still staying subscribed to the old one, thinking that's still his channel if he's just using the community to basically.
Oh yeah,
like
probably.
Posting on
they
that.
probably don't even notice they're not subscribed to the video.
Oh man, these
his
numbers
account
are
got
not good, man.
zooted. Got zooted. All right, so I did want to bring up
1,500 views for 5 days ago. And
Yeah,
and that's about a pretty hot topic. It's about Aisha. It's misconceptions about Aisha. Age nobody talks about. So here, wow, we got to click on this to get the awesome info. Gosh, these guys are in trouble, man. These guys are in trouble.
Yeah, those views aren't terrible for 5,000 subscribers, but the problem
No,
is
that's not the point. It's not just the number of subscribers. It's people who are still. If you watched videos by the Muslim Cowboy in the past, the algorithm is going to find ways to recommend his videos to. It's just like if I looked up a video, but if I went to the video by Testify and it's about the Muslim Cowboy, other videos about and by Muslim Cowboy are going to start being recommended to me. It just means people aren't clicking on his new stuff when it comes up, and then the algorithm stops recommending it. So this dude better figure out a way to jumpstart his stuff. And I can't tell if this video that we just watched is going to help, because you think that's so stupid, but there are tons of stupid people out there. You just start wondering, are the stupid people losing interest in this stuff?
Well, yeah, that's what I was going to say. If he's promoting him on the old channel, he should definitely be getting more views.
Yeah, and he looks like he's going with the ChatGPT grift. At least his most popular video on that channel is ChatGPT.
Oh yeah,
related.
that one's
just released one.
That's a bit of an outlier for sure. There, ChatGPT is the future of Islam, people. It's the future of Islam. I've had so many Muslims come into the chat and be like, "ChatGPT proved Islam is the truth." I'm like, okay, how?
Yeah. No,
it's 40, an AI. It's very smart.
Yeah, 40 generations of first cousin marriage combined with the level of stupidity that produced makes you think that ChatGPT is proving your religion. And you have grifters who are using your 40 generations of first cousin marriage level of stupidity to get your attention and give you what you want.
Snoopy says perhaps YouTube is getting tired of Epstein on Cowboy's channel. I don't know if he did videos about Epstein or you're just saying like, child stuff. Either way, that's a possibility. Another possibility is that he got caught uploading copyrighted content, whether music or otherwise, multiple times. That can get you demonetized as well. Who knows why he got demonetized. All right, I wanted to bring up this academic article because I said we'd go back to that map that's found in the Wikipedia article there. That's for some reason labeled "There is land west of Europe" on this map when there clearly is not. So the article is called "Far Beyond the Western Sea of the Arabs: Reinterpreting Claims About the Pre-Columbian Muslims in the Americas." So the primary focus of this article is like, why are people proposing these ridiculous ideas? Because it's not unique to the Muslim Cowboy. There are other people promoting these kinds of ideas, many of which are
I mentioned in the past, this would have been something like maybe 2012 or something. I went to the Islam Day parade and nope, this was being presented to the Muslims there, because they had the parade where they march through and stuff like this, and then they have a big gathering, and Yusuf Estes was speaking there, and they had a woman there. They had a woman there who was emceeing that she was making the case that Muslims made it to America first, and so it's kind of Muslim land.
And as I was going to say, a lot of these people making these claims aren't even Muslims. They're just like white academics trying to get attention or something. And so it's talking about the phenomenon and, colonial guilt and whatnot. But it does have a section relevant to what we looked at today. This is a huge article. Obviously, I'm not reading it, but here's the little map. All right. So here's the little map, not colored like on Wikipedia, but let's see what they write. According to Abdullah Hakim Quick, this map by Arab traveler and historian Ali al-Masudi, circa 930. So this is directly the source for that legend. Shows the Americas lying beyond Africa, a premise best understood by turning the map upside down so that north is at the top. However, right, so that's the claim, that this chunk of land down here is supposed to be America. So this blob that looks nothing like Africa is supposed to be Africa, and then that's America, which is clearly to the south. So you have to reorient the whole map, but then Asia and Europe are not correctly oriented. So they say, however, given Arab explorers' uncertainty about the shape of Africa at this time, it is more likely that this landmass is actually a representation of a portion of southern Africa. And then they added in the bold outline there to show you the actual shape of Africa in comparison. And so, assuming that al-Masudi, which it's not actually clear, he kind of presents it as a legend, but assuming he believes this, what did he think happened? Hush sailed south, found a piece of Africa that had not previously been explored, and then returned to Spain. Nothing about going west at all, right? He found some more of Africa, basically, is what he might have believed, and then drew this speculative map of what that might look like. Because it wasn't until several centuries later that people actually were able to sail beyond the Horn of Africa. It's actually a very difficult sea to travel. It took almost as long to travel around Africa as it did to cross the Atlantic Ocean, because it's very difficult travel down here. But basically, suggestion is maybe went to Africa and stole some booty from Africa and brought it back to Spain. Which
Thaddeus, it's not difficult. The water just takes him there.
Oh yeah, the water just takes him there. So to the extent that anyone thinks this is real, which it probably isn't even real, it's probably just a stupid legend, a sailor's tale, out there somewhere there's great gold to be found, right? That definitely sounds like the kind of thing that someone would just make up. But in the unlikely event it actually represents something real, he probably went to Africa, right? He probably sailed south, found something off the coast, found a place on African coast that he could land, stole some stuff from Africa, and went back to Spain. Far better explanation than traveling the Atlantic Ocean and whatnot.
Yeah, it's because, the Muslim Cowboy was, when he did his little summary, he was saying, and it's like, yeah, inference to the best explanation is you look at all the evidence and you say, what's the best explanation for this? So you could look at all this and conclude with, we don't even have much of a reason to take it seriously. It's a couple lines. But if we do take it seriously, then what would the best explanation be? If you take it seriously, this guy took off in a ship, came back sometime later with a bunch of gold. The obvious explanation would be he took off. Yep, he did take off in a ship and went somewhere down the coast of Africa. It's like the obvious explanation.
Mm-hmm.
And you got nothing else to go on to say otherwise. So you just go with until new information comes in, that would be the glaringly obvious explanation.
But America was actually in Africa at the time.
Something like that.
It's about it makes as much sense. But I do have one final thing for you guys. Actually, let me take a couple super chats, and I do have one final thing, which is the better proof that a Muslim Cowboy didn't bring, but I found online very quickly. So, Skyscraper Philosopher.
If you want your wealth to increase in this dunya, then give sadaqah more and more every single day. 2 angels come down. One of them is making dua for those who give. He says, Ya Allah, give those who give.
We Norsemen discovered America first, Leif Erikson. Yeah, the evidence that the Vikings were in the Americas before the time of Columbus is pretty strong. It's pretty widely accepted. There might be some minor dispute, but basically it's universally accepted that Vikings did, in fact, make it to the northern end of Northern America. But nonetheless, the Americas proper, obviously they definitely made it to Greenland, so it's not that big of a deal to go from Greenland to the coast of the Americas. So that's widely accepted. Obviously, technically, the first people to find Americas were the people from Asia who crossed the ice bridge at the time. Or there's also some evidence that there was sea travel between, the eastern edge of Asia and the western edge of Northern America. But as far as like Europeans, yes, the Vikings definitely seem to have gotten here first. But Columbus is the one that matters because it's the one that actually changes the course of history. Now, one more. Well, first from
and then just today, I found some Eskimos and they came to me speaking Norwegian.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. One guy of the whole tribe, though. Only one guy. Future Christian conversion of all Muslims and atheists in chat is what Potato Sandwich said. And from Super Chat from Pants Schmantz.
Here's the sad news. We are running out of funds. All our work is going to stop unless people like you watching this video will help us. Your donations can get you a share in a reward. Reap those rewards for years to come, inshallah. This is not a donation or a charity, but an investment for your hereafter.
Iblis was a hermaphrodite too, right? So why can't Allah be one? So reference earlier when we were discussing what kind of semen Allah might have. Iblis, according to the tafsir at least, Iblis impregnates himself. His knees touch and creates, or it fertilizes a bunch of eggs, and from each egg, like 100 demons are born or something. So he's like creating massive quantities of demons, according to the tafsir, and he's doing it all on his own. Why Allah can't create, I don't know.
Yeah, who's the real best of creators according to Islam?
Exactly. Apparently, Allah has to ask Jibril to go and perform oral sex on Mary and get her stimulated so that she releases the semen from her backbone to travel to her womb and merge with her female semen in order to create Jesus. We're not making this stuff up, people. David has all the sources in his latest video. Check it out. All right. So I do have one other thing that I found quickly online. It was a viral news story, so to speak, from 2014. This is the grand proof here. See? Discovery of 9th century Quranic manuscripts predate Columbus travels by 5 centuries.
Powerful.
For centuries, it is believed that Christopher Columbus was the first man from the old continent to cross the Atlantic to the New World, but new evidence from a research team from the University of Rhode Island suggests Muslim seafarers, hey, it doesn't say seamen, might just be the first people to have settled.
They preempted the zut jokes. Good luck with that, though, because I'm ready.
To settle on the shores of America, a possibility that could rewrite history as we know it. The discovery completely took the researchers by surprise, admits Professor Ivan Yurisco, in charge of the research team. Quote, we were expecting to find traces of prehistoric.
Like they found traces of the al-zut all over Muhammad's clothes.
Prehistoric Native American settlements,
like
as we have in the area.
Al-zut inside Muhammad.
As we have an area in the past decades.
Like Muhammad's area.
We were not prepared to find 9th century clay pots containing ancient manuscripts written in the Arabic language.
Not the way Muhammad's clay pot contained the seamanship of the men of al-zut.
A team of researchers fell upon what could be a mass tomb of 9th century seafarers. The 4 skeletons have been found on the site are in a state of advanced decomposition, which could make DNA testing impossible, warns the expert. Although the teeth showed premature decay, which could explain the cause of death by a poor diet or an unknown illness. And then we got a little picture here. And then talking about the artifacts, a quote from an Islamic scholar saying how wonderful this is. Here's a supposed document. And this story apparently was quite viral in 2014. Problem is, you're never going to guess this. It was published on a website called World News Daily Report, which was a satire website.
Oh yeah.
Oops.
Wait, does that say 2014?
Yeah, 2014.
Yeah.
Yeah. Before a few years, several years before that, and maybe this is sort of the same people doing it and so on, but Faith Freedom International used to show how gullible Dawa guys were and how gullible Muslims were to fall for it by posting videos. Posting articles like this. The one I remember that was cracking me up was it was about Adam being 90 feet tall, and you had to do it in kind of a smart way if you wanted them to fall for it, even though a lot of these guys are really dumb. But once they started catching on to this, so you had to just kind of randomly publish it on some site that claims to be a science site, and they would put some Jewish scholar in there. And but yeah, the article was about how a Jewish atheist was trying to destroy the story of Adam and Eve. And the Jewish atheist said at a conference, he said in an academic conference, in order to contain all the genetic information of all future people, he would have to be huge. He'd have to be 90 feet tall. And so they just put that out there. They don't do anything else. Just Jewish scholar says Adam and Eve couldn't have existed because the amount of genetic information to contain that would contain the genetic information for all people would require Adam to be 90 feet tall. And Muslims ran with this as their proof for a while until they found out it was all a joke. I mean, anyone who knows anything about biology knows how insanely stupid that is. Like the size of Adam is related to how much genetic information he's containing in his cells. And it was like completely stupid. But yeah, this looks like along those lines. Pretty funny.
Yeah, I found multiple Muslims linking to this article as a real article. They thought it was real. The website no longer exists, so I got on the Internet Archive there, put a link to it in the chat if you want to check it out for the lulz. But it's for all appearances, it seems to have been quite a popular article back at the time, and quite a number of Muslims were sharing it as a real article. I'm sure there were plenty of people sharing it to troll as well, but there was plenty of Muslims who were believing this was real, that they had discovered ancient Quranic manuscripts in clay pots in the Americas, because a group of sailors shipwrecked here. They brought clay pots filled with the Quran, and then before they died, they put the clay pots in their burial plot or something. I don't know how that would work exactly, because it says it's in their grave, right? So they buried themselves, or the native people buried them with their pots. I don't know. I don't know how that's supposed to work, but a lot of people fell for it nonetheless.
I'm just grateful with this article that we don't have to flip it and then look at it in a mirror to see the word Allah.
That was so bad. That was so bad. Now, just saying, going off this whole concept that it's like they'll just take something and run with it without actually looking at it. My video on my channel about Muhammad being in the Bible as a false prophet is still going crazy. And the Muslims are still sharing it. So this is like, guys,
why are they sharing it, Eric?
They think that I'm proving that Muhammad is in the Bible, which, strictly speaking, I guess I am, as a false prophet.
Yeah, because isn't it titled like 100% proof that Muhammad's in the Bible or something like that? Isn't that like the title? So they just see the title and they just automatically share.
Yep, 100% proof Muhammad is in the Bible. David Wood would agree. So, and then it's got David's face on it, and that's enough for them to want to share it everywhere.
See, it even sounds like you're being critical of David. So it's very clear why they're now. I bet you. I mean, a lot of them probably shared it without watching, but some of them probably actually watched it, and they're like, "Yeah, this does sound like Muhammad." You can't make it up. You can't make it up. And I had a similar experience like a long time ago when I was searching for like Muslim videos on scientific miracles to respond before they kind of abandoned that argument. And like one of the top videos was like, you know, scientific miracles in the Quran or something. And it was by Jay Smith. It was by Jay Smith. And you click through it and it's like all these Muslim comments are like, Alhamdulillah, you have proven that. So obviously it was just titled that way. And then it was like, it was actually like all the scientific errors, right? It was like, well, the mountains are pinned down and that's totally real. And they would just all fell for it. So like he'd say something in the Quran and then be like, this miraculously is in disagreement to all the scientific evidence. And they all right.
I was just thinking how funny it would be if they were like, Muhammad flew to America on his magic flying donkey monster, Barak, because it said that he went to the furthest mosque. What if the furthest mosque was actually in America?
Dun, dun, dun.
Houston says that Muhammad is found in Galatians 1:8. Indeed. I'm not sure if that's the verse that Eric used or not, but that is
no second. True. It was 2 Peter, and it actually lined up really well with Muhammad talking about him bringing on destruction upon himself, and that he denied the Trinity, that he would make a bunch of stuff up. And it actually lined up, and I actually have the sources, the Muslim sources as reference in there and highlight it. Oh, it's funny as all get out.
So reminder, link to the Muslim Cowboy video in the description. Head over there and ask Muslims why they believe this nonsense. I got a bunch of super chats. I'll skip the ones that play an animation that we've already seen. I mean, I'll skip the animation, not the super chat. First one from Adam.
Wasting your time on social media is one of the best deeds a Muslim can do. There's a huge need for it. You know this and I know this. So that makes the reward even greater. So give generously and Allah Azza wa Jal will give you even more.
I wasn't sure if we'd seen that one before or not, so I let that one play. Islam is like a blister. It shows up after all the hard work has been done. Yep, that sounds about right. Jack Ray with a super chat.
Brothers and sisters, why to lose this great opportunity? Remember, when the person is on his deathbed, the last minute, he will ask Allah Jalla wa Ala to be delayed for 1 second to do what? Not to pray, not to do other things, but to give sadaqah, because sadaqah you can give it just like this, in 1 second.
Only takes 1 second to donate, although it might take a bit more than 1 second to type in your credit card number. But you can certainly donate much quicker than you can earn good deeds in any other way. So that's the best way to earn your points with Allah. Jack Ray says, Muhammad and a companion approach a caravan to raid. Muhammad, just take it. Companion, in the Al-Zut sense. Muhammad, ooh, you naughty boy. This is historically accurate. The archivers are still looking for the manuscript, but if it happened even once, it definitely happened, and it's definitely proof of everything.
That's so wild to say. Like, how many things do we have that aren't true, and we have way more than one copy of it? But to like not even have one copy is like, what on? Where are you pulling this from? I could say that about anything. The Muslim Cowboy might have been discovered traveling from Africa to the Americas, 5,000 years ago, and he's a time traveler, and so he's the one who orchestrated all of their travels ever, and we might have a document of this somewhere. Like, what?
Welcome to lose the spoils of hush hush. Indeed. Elle Iso Elohim, is Elle a name Julia for Rome? I don't know what that means, but maybe Elle knows what that means.
I don't know what that means. I'm sorry.
Is Elle named Julia for Rome? Maybe. We don't know what your question is.
Is Thaddeus named Bob for China?
Yeah, good question. Let's see. Vox triggered happy birthday. I can't believe it's not haram. A member message from Songs of Relief.
Can you just imagine giving £100 and it's a sadaqah jariyah, meaning it carries on going even when you are gone? Just imagine being in your grave and getting the rewards. In your grave, you will not be able to come back to this video to donate. So why not donate now?
Not donate now.
Guys,
Why wait?
Say what you really mean, guys. Just say what you really mean. Send us a bunch of money. We promise you tons of Tanner Stage 2 virgins that you'll get to deflower in paradise. And this is how we dupe people.
Cowboy, you got anything holding up that 10-gallon hat? No, I don't think he does.
You're missing a little bit up here, my friend. Like, you're not even paying attention.
10 gallons of manure.
Thank you for being a member for 11 months. I actually just added a 1-year new icon for that because it's been about 12 and a half months, I think, since I enabled them. So that is now available. I added that today because someone pointed out in the last stream indirectly. Super chat from Misha.
Ezra's voyage to becoming son of God is far superior than Kashkash and the Dark Ocean. Ezra also confirms Dark Ocean in an Alzut sense.
It's true. So Misha, for those who are not regulars on the channel, he likes to make fun of Ezra being the son of God. So most of super chats focus on Ezra. So it's Ezra's voyage across the Atlantic Ocean, far superior to that of Hush.
Well, one, he's making fun of Islam, but then making al-Zut jokes. So I don't know what kind of gutter-minded people you have over here watching your stuff, Thaddeus, but
And David with the very important question: how much wood would David would if David would? The world
you haven't
will
been
never know.
hearing that for like 40 some years.
World will never know. World will never know. Potato Sandwich used highlight to say more mental gymnastics than Candace Owens doing flips. That's a tough question there. Who is more deranged, Muslim Cowboy in this video or Candace Owens in an average video? Don't know. Momo Al-Zooted.
I can't answer this question in a 20-minute interview, nor is it wise to do so, which is why I never brought this topic up myself. You will not find one lecture of mine about this issue. It should never be brought up in public. And I don't like these idiots, and they are idiots, wallahi. This is not something you discuss amongst the masses, ya akhi. It's not wise. I encourage anybody who is really interested to go deep to take the class. I do this class. It'll be 1 year later.
So going deep, and it's about Zoot.
And I mean, just think about what a deceiver this guy is. I can't answer this in 20 minutes. Why don't you post some? How long would it take? 5 hours, 10 hours? What? Just post some explanation that would help people understand instead of lying to them. Because we've got you on video flat out lying, saying there's no differences in Quran manuscripts since the time of Uthman, and you knew that was lying because we got this. We've also got clips of you giving lectures to actual students of knowledge where you're talking about all the differences and all the different Qurans and stuff. And so it's like, that's what's amazing to me. It's like, it's not, hey, he was wrong about something and then he corrected it. He was flat out lying. And they just don't care.
Allahu Zutbar. Muhammad Zut be upon him. That's supposed to be Muhammad Fleas be upon him. You got to get it right. But as long as we're talking about the Zut and Yasser Qadi's deep dive, I have Ali Dawa here.
I'm going to dive deep.
I just love the way he says that. Deep. All right. Super chat. A second one from Misha.
The waters don't mix, but they take you there.
It's true. Waters don't mix. This is one of the, in fact, in my research, it's probably the scientific miracle that Muslims most like, that the waters do not mix, the two waters, because apparently there's, or the two seas, I should say,
and
like
there's
only two seas.
The easiest one to salt.
Yeah, you just take some fresh water and some salt water and make them a different
so,
color and see if they mix.
So one, it's the claim that they don't mix, but two, when it's saying the fresh water and the salt water, however they translate it, is separate, you look at any of their commentaries, you say, yeah, because there's land in between them.
Mm-hmm.
You've got a lake, there's land that separates it. That's the barrier that Allah made. And it's like, okay, that would be the obvious explanation of what this means, guys, because that's what they all thought. But no, it's telling you about halocline and all this stuff. Gosh, guys, this I mean, made lots of progress, but man, there is work to do, especially when we're in this race of
and it's also consistent with
exposing Islam versus them lowering their IQ even more.
And it's also consistent with the context land, because it's a long list of obvious wisdom of Allah.
Stuff you're supposed to see. Yeah.
So it's part of a long list. And in a sense, it is wise that God gives fresh water.
That's what I mean. It'll be making a point. It's like, hey, some things need salt water and some things need fresh water. And isn't it good that it's actually set up that way? You got fresh water over here and then land in between them and then salt water over there. And it's a perfectly valid point about how the world is arranged in a way to support life and stuff. But why do they have to just completely misrepresent it?
Yeah, I mean, the whole passage is kind of like, book of nature. Look at nature and realize that God exists. And then Muslims like twist it from like a good, valid point to being, it's a miracle. It's advanced scientific knowledge. It's like, no, it's not. No, it's not. Well, that's how they work. They take what little good there is in the Quran and they get rid of that. DR Bales with a super chat.
Early, and this is indeed a sign, yet most of them are not believers. Give alone to Allah, give alone to Allah. Ride the wings of Gabriel, give alone to Allah.
I said we'd skip the duplicates, but they haven't been. They all keep being ones we haven't seen before. If true, Mormonism is just an Islamic sect. I think that's correct. Or maybe Islam is a sect of Mormonism, because their claim would be that Jesus started Mormonism, and this claim is that in the 9th century, Muslims discovered America. So maybe that makes Islam a sect of Mormonism. Either way, two closely related religions. And it's almost like they have the same force behind them, and that force was like, I can be creative, but it worked once. Why not just do the exact same thing? Just copy and paste what already worked, and
no one will know.
No one will know. No one will notice that Muhammad and Joseph Smith and the Quran and the Book of Mormon, they have a lot in common. No one will ever know. Perfect plan for sure. Another super chat from Momo Al-Zooted.
I can't answer this question in a 20-minute.
All right, there you go. A duplicate. Not wise to talk about this, Mr. Al-Zooted. Muslims now claiming Japanese islands belong to Muslims and that our Japanese are like Zionist colonizers. I don't think I've heard that specific claim, but it doesn't surprise me in the least. They probably created some story about how the Muslims previously came to Japan, and then they were kicked out by what we would now call the Japanese people. So it's rightfully theirs. That sounds perfectly in line with all the other nonsense they promote. So I wouldn't be surprised. I have seen plenty of Muslims claiming that Islam is growing rapidly in Japan. I'm like, where's the evidence? Well, one person converted. That's an infinite increase over the 0 we used to have. I mean, I don't know.
Well, I have seen quite a few statements of that. I got to look into it more, but I have seen more and more coming from that, which would be bad, but I would expect that. I mean, that's what Islam does. It goes to cultures that aren't familiar with it and then act like it's always been there, and target those who aren't familiar with their arguments. So, I mean, they'll go there and they'll argue the scientific miracles of the Quran. Well, they don't have anyone there that's really ready to refute them. They don't have anyone to object yet. And if they claim that, this is just like Christianity, it's just in the same line. Again, if they don't have people there ready to refute them, they'll just keep trying to push this.
Mm-hmm. Snoopy says, sounds like Mormonism was copy and paste, except for Joseph Smith did not inbreed. He did have plenty of sexual perversions, but not to the same extent of Muhammad. I will give you that. However, I would say cousin marriage is probably something that at least there is some commonality there. It's not like it's required to marry cousins in Islam or anything, but it's very prevalent. And at least if you look at like the early early Mormons or fundamentalist sects today, they're very tiny communities. So they have a very limited pool to marry from. So similarity there. A super chat from Isaiah 1:18.
Every single person that donates, inshallah, you're going to get a reward. You know what? Forget donate. Invest. You invest in your hereafter. Forgive me for pranking you guys, but I had to. Yeah, I'm the king of clickbait. Goodbye.
Definitely a prank if you think that Allah is going to, your donations to Ali Dawa are an investment in your future. And Allah's going to pay you off. Definitely some clickbait there. Isaiah 1 says, don't forget to support Junior. He is the greatest. He certainly thinks he is. He's certainly trying. He's certainly getting a lot of attention. He wants to be the new face of Dawa. I don't know. I mean, I would, except that I know better, I would say there's no way Muslims will support someone so stupid and making such terrible arguments. But on the other hand, I have a lot of experience. And Ali Dawa is, at least one time was at the top of the game. He was literally the most popular, even surpassed hijab in popularity for a little while. And it's hard to imagine someone stupider than Ali Dawa. So who knows? Maybe Junior is the future of Islamic Dawa.
Did you see his claims on cousin marriage on X?
No.
So he posted, Islam is a religion for alpha males. Only a beta male feels weird about marrying his cousin.
Yes, that's so weird. Oh my God. No.
December 22nd, he posted this year.
Yeah, because
guys, incest is not cool.
Because when I think of stereotypical masculinity, I think I want to marry my cousin.
And this is crazy.
Yes.
Again, I did a video yesterday on cousin marriage, and at first I thought, Daniel was just being really stupid, and he just said something dumb off the top of his head, which is, in fairness, is probably what happened. But they actually have a very good reason to support cousin marriage, and that's that it opens them up to a huge audience. Like more than half of their potential audience is already in a cousin marriage. So it makes perfect sense that Muslim apologists would be saying, this is great. You should totally do this. Because then their audience are like, yeah, I did this. I'm good. I'm a good Muslim. I don't know. Makes sense if you ask me. Junior samples. Well, you can find all the great work of Junior. You just got to spell it with a V for some reason. And then no one else in the world has that name with Junior spelled with a V, so you can easily find it. Day Song says, I saw another cat not stepping on Quran video today from Muslim account. Shake my head. Talk about recycled arguments. Well, you got one here. What was that? 6 years ago or so, the original cat won't walk on a Quran video. David utterly destroyed that by having a cat walk on a whole bunch of Qurans and tear them up and play with them and whatnot. And
I think it was 7.
Then Lily J brought it back.
No, it was more than 7.
Even longer ago. Either way.
It was while recording Islamicize Me. So whenever that came out.
Either way, though, even in Lily J's video, her cat steps on the Quran. Her proof video debunks itself. Yeah.
So why don't we pretend that the cat didn't step on my Quran? Wouldn't this be amazing proof?
Mm-hmm. totally would be amazing proof. And apparently, she's not the only one. Apparently, Muslims are picking this back up and trying to use it again. Might have to have a sequel to the cat walking on the... Well, there was actually two, because there was a sequel originally, because the Muslim claim was, that one contains English. It's not a true Quran. So then David had to do it a second time. But, you know, there might be a third video coming up soon, because I got cats and I got Qurans. So let's see what happens.
What we need is just like a parade of animals. Just cover our bases. Just like every animal we can get our hands on walking over the Quran. Just like have like 20 Qurans lined up and just a parade of animals going across it. Then we don't have to worry about this again.
Hey Thaddeus, you should make a prank video first where you're trying to refute their claim, but your cat actually won't walk on the Quran, and then you're like shocked and amazed, and then toss that one out there, and then like a week later post the footage that you didn't cut out, namely your cat's walking all over the stupid book.
Yeah, because it's not that hard to edit the video so that anytime they step on it, you just take that part out.
Lily J couldn't figure that out.
Dude, I was just wondering how hard it would be to potty train a bunch of animals, especially any animals that were seen as unclean would be bonus points. But even the cats would work too, and they would be probably the easiest to, like, you know, find the Quran pages. I think that would be interesting. Certainly, since cats already typically have like litter boxes that they're used to going in, and I guess we'll see what happens.
Yep. May have to see. We have to do some scientific experiments to see what happens. You know, we've been known to do scientific experiments in the past, so we can do some more if Muslims are going to insist us do so. Your cat cam should just be cats lying on the Quran. Well, I've teared up enough Qurans and poured them on my cats, and there is no cat here right now, but I've been known to rip up Qurans and place them on the cat, and they're just like, whatever, or maybe they move and then they're laying on it, and they don't seem to mind, though. They don't seem to mind the Quran too much. Rat-a-tat-tat, shredded Quran litter. Now, you can get paper litter for cats, so it's definitely possible to train them to use paper as a litter box. Jack Ray with 5 gifted. Jack Ray definitely likes to refer to it back again. 5 gifted Reason Answers memberships. Thank you for that. Gabriel, no relation to Jabril, I assume, with a member message.
I can't answer this question in a 20-minute.
It just says, hi, guys. Hello to you as well. Thank you for being a member for 9 months. David with the member chat here. A Muslim was zooted first. Debunk that, Islamophobes. It's true. Well, actually, it's probably not true.
Nah. Oh, son of Adam, spin.
There we go.
Yeah,
it wouldn't play that one.
If Muhammad's asking them to give him the strength of 30 men, they obviously clearly already had a reputation to uphold.
Yeah, so there you go. David debunked it. So in your face, other David. But thank you for being a member for the past 4 months there. And when I skip it, we'll still have the delay from the first one. That's why it started playing midway through that, because it was still delayed from the first one. We got an amazing thought here from Life of Zilla Zinga. Why can't we just respect each other? Doesn't matter religion.
Well, because Islam fundamentally is designed to disrespect and destroy us. And so you're saying, why don't we just sit back and let it happen? The answer is no. So that's a stupid comment.
I mean, that's what it comes down to, right? Because Islam is not only targeted against Christians or against Jews or even non-believers. I mean, Islam is cancerous for the members of the Muslim community. I mean, it is just cancerous to everyone and needs to be dealt with. And we all know that it will only lead you to hell. That's the only path it will take, is the path to hell. And we want you to not go to hell. So why do I care? Can't I just respect them going to hell? No, I don't want them to go to hell.
Mm-hmm.
And on that note, oh, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna read a quote from David Wood's alt account on Twitter, at Mike Winger II, where he said, "One of my political commitments is that Islam is evil. This is a necessary commitment because they have world domination ambitions combined with murderous and treasonous methods." To which I followed up and said, this is a necessary commitment because they are leading souls away from the one true God, Jesus Christ, the Messiah, who wasn't just a prophet, but is Lord, our Creator, who became flesh, was crucified, and resurrected so we can be saved. See Romans 10:9 to find out how to be. So this is why we can't all respect each other. I mean, clearly it isn't happening on any side anyway. But yeah, no, I don't respect people's decisions to harm themselves or others. And that applies most prevalently to eternity, because your soul matters too.
Yeah, I'll just summarize what was said there. Is the most loving thing we can do for Muslims is to tell them the truth and tell them that Islam is false and communicate with them in such a manner that we are most effective in doing so. Sometimes that requires being harsh, but it is always done out of a spirit of love. The least loving thing I could do is be like, hey, I'll just ignore all the Muslims because I want them to go to hell. Right? So from a Christian perspective, we are doing what is best and most loving for the Muslims,
which is something you can't fathom.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. You're pretty harsh there, Ted.
Man, that one, that's the one that plays.
Yeah, why not? Well, okay, fine. I'll play a different one since that one was too harsh. Okay.
No, I thought it was perfect.
Why are you stuttering?
Amen, Elle from Skylark. I agree. DR said,
can you just imagine giving £100 and it's a sadaqah jariyah, meaning it carries on going even when you are gone?
Yeah, it took me a second, but we did have that one for sure earlier. Good night, sleep tight. Don't let the zoot men bite. Thank you for being a member for 3 months. Natural Farmer with a super chat.
They give a loan to Allah. What is the reward? The reward in this life is that the money will come back double. You give 100, 200 will come back. Sooner or later. Believe me, all money that is given for the sake of Allah, it comes back. And I'm sure that all of you have experience.
Mm-hmm. Lots of experience with the money you give to Allah coming back at least double. That was actually abrogated. The Imam there is not correct. That is what the Quran says. The Quran explicitly says you get double back. But that was abrogated by the Hadith, because Hadith can abrogate the Quran. It is now many times, not just double. Allah really likes to pay interest. That's why he doesn't allow humans to charge interest, because that's only Allah who gets to pay interest. So Natural Farmer says Arabs import Aussie camels because no syphilis. Truth. I don't know the facts of the matter, but that would be very strange because diseases aren't communicable. So if their camels are meant to get disease, then they will get disease one way or another. Muhammad said so himself. How dare you question his prophetic wisdom? Skylark says, I'm calling PETA in response to the cat experiments with the Quran, or maybe all the animal experiments with the Quran. A super chat from H Crow, I think.
Who ate the apple? You ate the apple. The whole apple. Yes, the whole apple. You ate it. But a small seed, you left it. You put it back into the earth. What happened? Allah, through His power, caused that to grow and to give you how many apples? Thousands.
Thousands of apples. Classic there. That's inspired the opening song of the day. That's a channel favorite. And it took all the way to the end almost to get that one. So H. Crow said, what's the hadith where Muhammad went into the house of a couple uninvited and joined their bed? I don't have the reference, but I know what you're referring to.
Who ate the apple?
And it is, in fact, not just a couple. It's his daughter and her husband. He goes into their house and joins them in bed for some reason. And it's a Sahih hadith. It's either in Bukhari or Muslim. I don't have the reference off the top of my head, however. Very strange behavior of Mr. Muhammad there. His sexual perversion knows no bounds, I think. Imagine that, just going to your daughter's house, and she's married, and just crawling into her bed one day and be like, hey, guys, I'm here. Muhammad, the perfect example to follow. Desong says, David Wood looks extra angry today. Is he thinking of Mike Winger?
Of himself? Why would thinking of himself make him angry?
No comment from David, apparently, on...
I'm not feeding into this nonsense.
Well, you did feed him, though, right?
No. If someone steals food from me, that's not me feeding someone. That's grand theft.
I
Good
saw
to know.
a video where he fed you. Like a mama bird. He took it right out of his mouth and put it on your plate for you.
Okay. David there triggering the apple as we were in the aftermath of the other apple. Super chat from Super Wario.
من ذا الذي يقرض الله قرضا حسنا? Who is gonna give Allah a good loan? Ya akhwati, this verse puts shame in my heart. My Lord is asking for a loan. Nothing's wrong with that guy. He has ability, but only a little bit of cash flow problems. Just needs a little bit of money right now. So give to Allah. Don't ask for anything back, guys.
The creator of the universe needs your money. He's got some cash flow problems. You gotta help him out. You gotta help him out. He really needs your money. How do you get it for that money? Oh, you sent it to me, of course. I talked about Japan with David a few weeks ago. Still haven't read my email. Islam is growing by birth. Japan is against it. They don't want mosques. So I guess this is in reference to the question there earlier about
in my defense as to not reading I have 218,743 unread emails in my box. I still have no clue how to even begin to tackle that. So any email you send, it better be eye-catching or it gets buried pretty quickly.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for the context there. Snoopy says Grand Theft cookies, something like that. What was the food that Mike
it was
stole
steak?
for you? Steak.
Stole steak from me.
Allah is begging, bro. What? Yep. Allah is, he's got the ability. He can pay for a hamburger today, next Tuesday that you provide him today. Totally. Muhammad Al-Zutid with a third super chat. Muslims claim tarantulas would not walk on a Quran. I don't know if this is a joke. I assume it's a joke.
You can't tell. You can't tell because it would all sound like a joke. Like if someone told me, hey, the new argument, guys, if people weren't paying attention, they have no idea. My comment section of every video got flooded with, you can't refute this. Now it's been proven that a cat will not walk on the Quran. And so you'd think, no, this is too stupid. But then there were other ones during that time. Fortunately, by being so brutal in that one, it made them take the cat videos down, and then they started taking other things down. But there's the other one where if you took bird seed and wrote the name of Allah with the bird seed, the pigeons wouldn't eat it, which they obviously just loaded up with like bird repellent or something like this. And so it was like, do I seriously have to perform all of these experiments But anyways,
I've also heard that birds won't poop on the Kaaba. I've heard that one. That one's obviously a little harder to test. I've heard that one. Supposedly there's a tree that is bowing down to Mecca that they there's a bent tree that faces the general direction of Mecca. Clearly the tree is bowing down. Even the trees are submitting to Allah. Then let's see, there's the name of Allah written on your hand. I know there's others. There's so many of these stupid things. I think there's one about like the mountains of Africa spelling out the name Allah or something like that. I don't know. All kinds of weird, stupid stuff. So who knows? Maybe Muslims would claim that tarantulas won't walk on the Qurans. Durka says, I want free Qurans. It's getting colder. They make good fire starters.
I'm actually surprised with how long they burn.
From a scientific experiment. See, that's the proof of Islam. It takes longer to burn a Quran than another book.
It's all the horse crap.
VVV has been trying to get my attention the whole time about how great atheism is, and he proves just how intelligent atheists like him are. Alex O'Connor has higher IQ than all of these four people. Let's just assume, for the sake of argument, that we all have below average IQs, where we're all victims of cousin marriage. We have one standard deviation, 85 IQ or something. That would be 340 combined, which is like almost double the highest recorded IQ in history. So great argument there. Apparently Alex O'Connor is just totally off the charts.
So in other words, this comment was made by a very low IQ person.
My fairy tale, I did see your email. I'll reply back.
He even spelled his name in like a stupid way, put the apostrophe before the O and stuff like that between that and Alex. That was anyway, pretty funny.
My fairy tale life, I did see your email. I have been very busy this week and I haven't replied, but thanks for the reminder. I'll make sure to do that. Another super chat from Momo Al Zooted.
O son of Adam, spend. I will spend on you. Give, then I will give you. It's difficult because you know what? These are my last few. As it is, the price is going up, the rand is going down. This is happening. Excuses. Those are excuses. You give and watch what Allah does.
I'm surprised in Islam there isn't a Zuta Sutra. It took me a second to get that one, but very nice, very nice. Thank you for all your donations today. And probably the last one from Natural Farmer.
Sir, how can we contribute financially for your organization? They get in touch with me. And very easy, people know where I am. And once they get in touch with me to contribute without causing problem, to contribute in big amounts. And many people call me for lunch and for dinner and for meal, and for every meal they give big amounts, alhamdulillah. So those who really want to contribute, they come and meet me.
Let it play since it's the last one of the day. He just gets so excited about big amounts, big amounts. And the reason he's making that video is because, well, one, because he wants donations, but two, because people are like, I can't figure out how to donate to you, Mr. Zakir Naik. How can I do that? And he's like, well, you can't because I'm on the international terrorist list, and thus I can't accept credit card donations, but you can come meet me in person and donate big amounts. That is the gist of it there. Of course, he doesn't say why you can't donate via credit card, but that is in fact the case. Momo Prosperity Gospel Grifting, haha.
Is he even legally allowed to solicit donations like this? I would think the answer
Probably
would
not.
be no. But he's publicly on record doing so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but in Malaysia, they don't care too much. Did David Wood address awesome comment by M. Wonger. I assume it's not supposed to be a joke and it's just a typo, but Mike Winger to Muhammad.
I'm assuming he means Muhammad Hijab, but yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Muhammad Hijab asked his fans what their 5 top Quran reciters of all time were, and Mike Winger, obviously trying to buddy up to me, not going to work, put 1 through 5, David Wood.
Mm-hmm. Handy Andy said, are there websites to request and get a Quran for free? I'd like to have a couple to read, study, reference. There are. Obviously, you have to give them your address or, have a P.O. box or something.
Way easier going up to some Dawa booth or something like that.
Yeah, they just hand it to you. Unless you're Elle, then they take it away. They don't like you after they realize you actually know what you're talking about. So go up there, act stupid, get the Quran from them, go put it away, and then you can come back and absolutely destroy them with basic logic.
Yeah, if you don't want to trigger any alarms, just walk up to them and say, I am 40th generation of product of first cousin marriage, and I'm looking for religion. Do you have one for me? And they'll give you everything you want because you're their target audience.
Can I add that you're a big fan of TikTok? That helps as well. So H Crow helping us out here. There might be a version in Sahih Muslim, or I could have been incorrect. Anyway, he gives us the hadith here. The prophet came when we had gone to bed. He went to get up, but the prophet said, stay where you are. He sat between us, and I felt the coolness of his feet on my chest. What the heck?
That is creepy.
Why are his feet up at the level of your chest?
This is just downright creepy, man.
Such is Islam. And as Mary Yamawit pointed out here, Alex O'Connor is been friendly with Christianity lately. I mean, historically, he definitely was pretty harsh about Christianity, but lately he's been saying, maybe Christianity is good for society. Maybe it's actually the best religion out there. And I think he did actually say it's based. I haven't seen that clip, but I've heard several people say that. So I think he did actually say it. But regardless, he's actually pretty friendly with it, to the point where I've seen atheists being like, Alex O'Connor is not a real atheist anymore. So there you go. All right. That is everything from the audience. We'll summarize it today, starting with Elle. What are your closing thoughts on this stream?
I don't understand why some people find it so convincing when Dawa dudes don't address actual facts or actual good logical conclusions as to why to pursue Islam. I know that there aren't logical reasons to pursue Islam spiritually. So I get why Dawa dudes have to do anything else, but why people follow them, I really don't understand. This really doesn't make any difference, even if it were true that Muslims had come to the Americas. But saying it when it seems to be very untrue just is like doubly like, what are you doing? Why? Are you just purposely trying to distract people and like seek attention? I don't know. Very sketchy. My closing thoughts would be to everyone watching this, please pursue truth. Figure out what does align with reality. Pursue Christ because he is the truth and he will lead you to life. Islam does not. Islam leads you away from life. So.
And yes, Tawheed Islam, this message is for you. Eric, your closing thoughts.
My closing thoughts is, guys, seriously, look at history. Don't buy into these silly little, not even actual historical facts, just like if this could be possibly a historical fact, then this is what it is. I mean, seriously, that is the sum total of this entire argument. But yet there are people who will buy into this. There are people who will just take it. And I'd warn against Christians buying into anything that is just easy to hear, that you just want to, that sounds good because it's coming from your perspective. That's what the Muslims are doing. They're just buying into this because it sounds good from their perspective. Look into the actual source. Look into it for yourself. It doesn't actually take that long to actually do some research and come to the conclusion that this Muslim Cowboy is full of garbage, and he's just in it for the money, as we already demonstrated with his new channel. He is there for the money, and that's the only reason he is there.
Yeah, I'll have to look in that video that Eric sent me. Maybe we'll do a reaction to that or something. It's
bad.
Well, it couldn't be worse than what we saw today.
No, it makes this one look intelligent. I'm not kidding.
All right. Well, with an endorsement like that, we'll definitely have to check that out. So Finding Nina, who says, David Wood, please remember to make video about protecting Muslims from Muslims. I assume that's something you said on a stream, is remind me to make this video. So you're getting a reminder here and now. Your closing thoughts.
Yeah. So imagine the sort of person that would fall for that video by the Muslim Cowboy. Every argument these guys have used for the past 5 decades has been exposed as complete lies. Over and over again, the scientific miracles, the perfect preservation, it'll get built up, and then over time, we will destroy it. And Muslims keep going back to their Dawah guys, the biggest bunch of liars the world has ever seen. It's like, what does this tell us about? It tells us you love lies and you hate the truth. Why? Because when we correct them, you're going to kill us and stuff like, it's like, what? Like, oh, these guys, they tell us nonstop lies. Let's support them. These guys over here, they tell us nonstop truth. They're our worst enemies. What does that tell us about the religion that you follow? Anyway, let us know.
Yep. On that, I'll just add to any Muslims who watch this, Tawheed Islam, I know that you've been here the whole time. I did notice you ran away from the cousin marriage stream for some reason, but you usually pay attention to my streams. That one apparently hit particularly hard. I hope you go back and look at the numbers, because he was claiming that cousin marriage was extremely rare in Islam, and then as soon as the numbers started to pop up, he's like, I gotta go, guys, see you later. Anyway, for any Muslims who watch this, I would just encourage you to ask, what is wrong with a religion that is making such ridiculous claims and people are buying it? If you have to make such ridiculous claims about your religion, about your history, what truth could there possibly be in the religion? What else is a lie besides these ridiculous claims about coming to America and numerous other things that we put out there today? Thank you, everyone, for tuning in today. I'll be back tomorrow with a stream with Apostate of Allah, briefly looking at her testimony, long version on David's channel, but brief recap of her testimony. And then we're going to be looking at a video she made about Sam Shamoon, that his little cult got flagged and removed from YouTube as harassment. It consists of her reading verses of the Bible and then playing a clip of Sam's behavior and comparing the two, which apparently the Bible is harassing Sam. That's what the title will probably be. The Bible harasses Sam, according to his cult. Something along those lines.
I still can't get the fact that Sam's group got it down for harassment.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's all Sam does is harass people, and he's whining. Oh,
yeah. So we'll play back that video. The flagging campaign isn't going to work on my channel. It worked on her channel because it's a very small channel, but it's not going to work on mine. We're going to give that video much more attention than it ever would have gone otherwise. And look at how the Bible harasses Sam by
Yeah.
she doesn't
Look,
even
guys-
provide commentary.
Yeah, guys, some people just don't deal well with criticism. They can't take it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So that'll be tomorrow. I also have a video on Sam that'll be out this weekend. I've been editing that. Got delayed because of family issues, but that should definitely be out. It's just about done, so I'll probably release that Saturday since I have a live tomorrow. That will be on Sam doxing a Christian for canceling their PayPal donation and putting as the reason why this guy is a scammer. So he went live, doxed the guy, gave his full contact information, and then asked his audience, what can we do about this guy, or something along those lines. So we'll go through that in a scripted video. That'll be out Saturday. Stuff coming up next week, but you'll just have to stay tuned to find out what that is. Until then, we'll close out in the traditional way with a prayer from Pastor Jake.
Pray this ceaselessly. Lord Jesus Christ, Son of God, have mercy on me. Lord Jesus Christ, Son of God, have mercy on me. Lord Jesus Christ, Son of God, have mercy on me.